welcome back to the ARK of E Podcast. My name is Noah.
And my name is Gavin.
And we're the Blanchard Brothers, back with you once again for another 2x2 retro review.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
kind of the main thing that we're doing. Might be the last one for a while.
I know.
I don't know.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, maybe we can discuss what else we should be doing.
What else is there?
I don't know. But yeah.
That was the Swan Princess joke, by the way.
It's been a while.
Yeah, like what do you love about me? Like, what else is there?
No, it's clicking now.
Oh, okay,
good.
good.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Swan Princess.
Yeah.
Who released that?
DreamWorks?
I don't think DreamWorks was a thing yet, but
DreamWorks was definitely Pebble and the Penguin, but I don't know who did the Swan Princess. It escapes me, and I don't want to look it up right now.
Okay. Well, that's that.
Yep.
Okay. So, we can do the usual. I got a few things, not much,
Me
but
neither.
what you been watching since the last time I saw you? Watching, listening to?
I did watch This Much I Know. It's a great show. It's award-winning. It should be, the top 10 of everyone's list. This Much I Know.
Is that what she called it? I thought it was something different that she reversed around. Anyways, I know this much is true.
Was it I know this much or This Much I Know?
This
much I know is what she said.
This much I know. Yeah.
For anyone, Father's Day was this past weekend. We were able to get together, all four of us.
Which was great.
Semi-social distancing in the pool. And Mom was...
I had ribs.
Yeah.
Haven't had ribs in forever.
God, and me neither.
They were great.
They were amazing.
Dad doesn't even eat ribs.
I know.
But he killed it. It was awesome.
Yeah.
He didn't kill the...
he didn't go get the animal.
That's how the kids say it. Mm-hmm. That's how I meant it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm saying speaking of food, I've only been watching Hannibal, so there's a lot of twists and turns.
Food porn in there, from what I hear.
Yeah, like a lot of. Is that a person or no? Looks, could be, couldn't be.
Very hey, these people have seen the opening credits to American Psycho one too many times.
Dude, I'm in the last season, and it's gotten really cinematic.
You're
for
on the last
NBC.
Season of Hannibal?
It's only 3.
Are they?
Only 13.
Oh, they're 13?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm surprised you
I
haven't
know
killed
what
it,
I'm
dude.
doing after I conclude The Sopranos, which at this rate will be probably by the end of next week.
Mm-hmm.
So not the next time we record, but probably the next time I can tell you what I thought of it overall.
I did listen
But I got 2 left to season 5 right now. Real quick, sorry. For anybody who cares.
Joey Pants is gone, right? He's already gone.
Pants has been gone for a bit. Spoilers for a show that's been off the air for over a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been gone for a bit. You want me to tell you how it happens?
Please do.
All right, spoiler alert for season 4? 4, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Season 4 of Sopranos. So...
I just want to know because I'm just going to tell you.
Without a ton of backstory, basically.
I did listen to him and Marin, and he explained it that he'd never seen it. And
Yeah,
he's
he
like,
still hasn't watched
they
it,
pitch it to
so-
me. He's like, you come in, you're there for a year, you go up against Tony, and eventually you lose.
Yeah.
I did it. That's it.
That's the arc.
What else do you want, Mark?
But they point out in that episode, of course, usually up to that point, the kind of villains or the faux for it had been for the season.
Right.
And so when he didn't get killed off in season 3, you were like, wait, what's going on here?
Right.
And it throws you off guard, and then all of a sudden, and it doesn't happen in a finale or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, the dispute at the end of the day is because Joey Pants burnt down the stables where they've been betting. Tony bought a horse, etc. They've been betting. They're doing really well at the track. The horse wasn't doing good. He needed the insurance money to pay for an operation for his kid. A lot of backstory. Anyways, Tony was pissed that he basically killed his horse. He burnt his horse, and then they had to put the horse down. So that's what it escalated over. And then he just they have a knockdown, drag-out fight in a kitchen. And, and then he bashes his brains in, basically, to the tile floor.
Wow.
Crazy. Crazy scene.
Yeah.
I am in season 5. And just watched what is, I think, and arguably an all-timer. It's called The Test Dream. I think it's an early Matt Weiner episode. And there's like a 22-minute dream sequence, like just in the middle of the episode, and you don't quite realize you're in it until you're about like 5 or 6 minutes into the dream, and it starts to click, and then you're like, how long is this fucking gonna go on? And it is one of the more astounding hours of television I've seen in a while, but specifically that sequence, I was just like, dude, this shit's great. So yeah, I'll be done with season 5 probably tonight, because I don't have to work tomorrow.
Which is why I'm here tonight.
You do have to work, right?
I do, yeah, I always do.
Yeah. So we'll try not to keep this quite as late as our last episode. We've had a couple 2.5 hours this season, which has been great.
Luckily, we only have really one great movie to talk about tonight.
True. I don't know how long the Brokedown Palace discussion will be. Any other TV? Okay, so Hannibal. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm really interested to see because there's so many little nods to, like, out of nowhere. So, like, I'm just going to paint this picture for you. I'm not going to spoil anything. Out of nowhere, like, there's just a woman in Hannibal's office in season 2. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, she's got this brother, they're a family. And all of a sudden it's like, this guy has, like, pigs on a pig farm. And I'm like, fucking Gary Oldman from Hannibal. Like, they're going to set this character up. And they fucking do. And, like, the way in which they show you how he becomes, how Gary Oldman is.
Gotcha.
It's so fucking good, dude.
All right.
I'm interested to see what you think.
Okay, who's the dude again?
Mags Mikkelsen?
No, obviously.
Hugh Dancy.
Hugh Dancy. How do you feel about him? Because
There's
that was
so many
honestly
shades of. There's so
the
many
wild card for me. In as much as like I was excited by the idea of Mads, but I was never sold on Hugh Dancy. I'm not at that, but what was Dancy's other?
I don't know
thing?
what he was in.
He had something prior.
He looks hella familiar. I mean, maybe he showed up in Game
around.
of Thrones. I don't know.
I don't think so.
There's so many shades of like, oh, this is like the voice and like getting to the voice and feel of Peterson, but there's never the physicality of it. There's little nods to the Peterson character, and I get because that's the most iconic thing. There's no Clarice Starling. There is a Clarice Starling-esque character, played by my girl. She shows up. She's in there.
Anna Klumsky.
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
Yeah.
There's
an arc with her and Jack Crawford, Larry Fishburne. But it's almost like there's so many nods.
Who's your favorite Jack Crawford?
Dude, it's always Dennis Farina. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well, if you can't look anymore, I can't do a good Farina. Anyway, but
and 100% I'm right there with you. Scott Glenn though. And then
I go no. It's Farina, Keitel, Glenn.
Glenn above Keitel. I love Keitel, but Glenn above Keitel.
Yeah.
Keitel's riding Farina's coattails, if anything.
True. Yeah. I don't know. I do appreciate.
Can't say that in a lot of cases,
right?
But
I don't. But it's obviously done by people who looked at the entire 4 movies and thought, there's a weird idea I have about how to do this that will pay homage to people who've been there, but
not 100% in the same vein, but I'm sensing a little bit of similarities in terms of fans taking the reins as maybe a little show called Cobra Kai, which we hopefully can talk about very soon.
Hopefully,
because it just got moved over to Netflix.
Oh,
I don't know when season 3 is officially dropping, but from what I've read in the announcement articles, in the fall, seasons 1 and 2 are going to just appear, and then maybe it'll be a Christmas present. I don't know when
maybe
they're going to drop this thing. I don't know how much they had left to finish in post, because I know they got interrupted because of Corona a bit,
right, and
because of the shakeup of not knowing where the future seasons were going to go. Mm-hmm. Also, I mean, cool. I don't know how all this stuff goes down, but cool of YouTube or somebody in the process of being like, yeah, we're not gonna you guys can shop it around. We're not gonna just cancel you outright.
Right.
And you're cool to take this to other places for syndication, etc. And
there's
not just cutting it off at the knees.
Well, I told you the guy that was in the branch and he was closing his account out, and I noticed he had the same Cobra Kai shirt I did. I was like, "Do you like your shirt?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, man, can't wait for season 3." I was like, "Dude, season 3." And he goes, "Yeah, I was just on a plane a couple months ago, and I like the producers of it were sitting in first class, and I realized it was them, and I'm like, first off, I'm like, how do you realize that it's them? You have to love the show enough to have gone and looked at who they are to be able to." He said he spoke to one of them, and he was like, great show. Like, I love it. Thank you so much for it. And I was like, yeah, my brother was telling me that they asked one of the guy, the big dude, like the older guy that's in, the Paul Walter Hauser, whatever his name is. And I was like, my brother told me they asked him about like who his favorite villain was this, and he's like, I love Terry Silver. That's all I'm gonna say. And he was like, oh, they gotta bring him in. I'm like, dude, they have to. It was like talking to another one of you and me.
I know, man.
In a Cobra Kai. It's the ultimate handshake television show.
That's one of them for sure.
For us,
Yes,
a shared handshake show
for sure.
But yeah, I thought that was just a neat little interaction. So hopefully we will be getting that. And so like that happens, and then literally 2 days later, you're like, dude, it's going to Netflix. I was like, all right, this week's gotten a little bit better. All right, we're getting there. We have to talk about the elephant in the room, though.
What's that?
You had to cry, little sister. I had to cry a little bit. No.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
We needed to get to this for sure. Yeah, in the midst of everything going on right now, Joel Schumacher.
Was he 80?
80. Yes, passed away. We love him for many different reasons, but specifically for us, yes, it's Lost Boys.
I got so mad because
he could have literally never made another movie, and we would still be like, dude, that's the guy. That's the guy.
Because everything was like, the news thing at work comes up. St. Elmo's Fire director Joel Schumacher passed away. I'm like, that over Lost Boys, and I'm thinking that over like Batman Forever.
Wait, what did they reference? Sorry,
St. Elmo's Fire.
I mean, I know it's a big early one, but it's not the Schumacher movie that like leaps to mind immediately.
Maybe this news thing is designed for people of an older generation. Like that's what's going to grab them,
True.
But yeah, I was just
Falling Down.
Yeah.
Maybe my favorite in the entire bunch outside of Lost Boys is 8mm, which I haven't seen in a bit.
Yeah.
And not a fun one necessarily, not one you jump to
what other
rewatch.
big one did he do that was really good, but like no one talks about? Wasn't there like a sleeper hit that was just
Tigerland
like
with Farrell, and then they did Phone Booth together, which I actually rewatched a couple months ago, and that was one of those when it came to DVD. It's like an 85-minute movie. Mm-hmm. I would like crush that in an evening, and then like throw on usually Ocean's 11 right behind it,
right,
and go to sleep. But I probably have seen Phone Booth like 30 times, and then I just rewatched it for the first time in maybe 10 years. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what Lost Boys is to me in the summertime.
I still really, really like it.
Like, I always put Lost Boys on at night if I'm, well, I mean, obviously I'm watching Hannibal, but like...
And I know he got, in general, I feel like he's remembered as more of a cult director. He has a handful of movies that people really, really adore. And then maybe more mainstream speaking, people kind of think of him as a joke or like a trash master and like a Rennie Harlan sort of space or something like that. And I'm just
almost like a precursor to Michael Bay, so to speak.
Yeah, I always thought, we can talk about Bay here in a second if you want to keep going with the current news and zeitgeisty.
Oh, I'd like to know. I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, no, so I don't know where people stand on him long term. He has, I just named 3 in particular, but several movies in his filmography. And like, yeah, there's some duds in there. Flatliners does not hold up, even though it was such a huge cable movie for most of our childhood. Not a huge fan of The Opera Guy personally, like in general, and also not crazy about that adaptation, but it is what it is. But I will sit here, and I'm not going to sit here and like defend to the death. But when I was a little kid and we saw Batman Forever in the theater when we were living in Japan, I thought it was like the greatest motion picture experience I had had outside of Return of the Jedi.
Right.
At that point in my young life in the theater. I thought it was incredible. I still kind of ride for Val Kilmer as Batman as being fairly underrated.
Ooh.
And same thing with Batman and Robin. Ooh. When I saw it as a child, what's
brother, we are neglecting? No. This is what we're missing. Okay, we got Lost Boys, St. Elmo's Fire, Flatliners, Falling Down. The next year, The Client.
Oh, I forget about The Client, and dude. Then, how many times did we rent The Client down at the Emerald Isle Beach House?
Exactly.
Holy shit.
Follows up The Client with Batman Forever, okay? Also,
Time to Kill?
Yes, that's what I was getting at. The year after Batman Forever. Literally, Batman Forever, he produces The Babysitter, and then Time to Kill, right back for Batman and Robin. Then 8mm. Then he's got Flawless, which is the De Niro.
That goes in the not great, hasn't aged well category.
Tigerland.
underrated still.
Yeah.
I feel like
Bad Company.
yeah, not good.
That's the
Chris Rock and
yeah.
Anthony Hopkins.
And then Phantom of the Opera, which I think is the last big
Again,
one.
I don't think a bad movie. I'm just not like I've never been a Phantom guy, so
Right.
it was going to be a tough sell for me to begin with.
And then I mean, he rides out.
That's Jerry Butler before
Jerry
anybody
Butler.
even he called the shot, man. I'm just saying.
That's Jerry Butler, like even before like Reign of Fire, Jerry Butler, which I loved him
Yeah,
in
I
that
think
more
so.
than McConaughey's iconic. But then the
Dude,
last
you
big
want to talk
one,
about a stacked cast of just dudes with beards? McConaughey, Bale, and
Jerry Butler.
Jerry Butler. Who else is in there?
That's pretty much it. No, he plays the. Is it Ray Winstone? Is he in there
I
for
feel
like a
like
split
Ray
second?
Winstone's in there.
He's
I
like-
don't know. We'd
he's-
have to
yeah.
take another look at that one.
And then of course 2007's the number 23. Yeah,
Saw it in the theater.
yeah. I
Not
remember
good.
we saw it. Yeah, but yeah. I had to mention A Time to Kill and all those.
You just ran through that. His 90s run up until Batman and Robin, where everybody pretty much crucifies him in the moment and afterwards, which, again, dude, as I've still rewatched that movie several times. It's one of those, if it's on, I'll watch it. It's not objectively good, but it's like, it's a fun bad. It's so campy. It's like,
it's definitely the
entertaining
60s.
as hell.
The 60s. As close as you can get in terms of camp. And I'm sorry, if you have to give me that to get me to Nolan's Batmans, I'll take it all day long.
Yeah, it had to go
I'll take it
so
on the
far
chin, no
to the
problem.
side to snap back.
Yeah.
Definitely. So yeah, R.I.P. Joel Schumacher. Really fucking solid career. And again, any filmography that has that many movies that I rewatch on a regular basis.
Exactly.
Like, that's the thing. The rewatchability of a lot of those we just mentioned. And now I'm sitting here and I'm like, I knew it happened a couple days ago. I didn't really think about it much, but I was like, shit, I want to rewatch 8mm because I haven't seen it in forever. Veronica loves Nicolas Cage. She's never seen it. That's
Oh.
early Joaquin as well.
Yes.
It's dark as fuck. It's basically Seven Part 2, sort of. It's fucking, yeah. Whatever happened to Andrew Kevin Walker, dude?
Who's that?
The screenwriter of 7 and 8mm. I think he did some other stuff. I don't know.
Maybe he went crazy.
Okay. And we don't have to go into the whole Bale thing. I didn't know if you saw the Megan Fox kind of thing circulated again.
What?
People were pointing to it was an old Jimmy Kimmel clip that came up where she tells a story about her audition or how she was an extra on Bad Boys 2 and she was underage at the time. It was the club scene and she's in the American flag bikini. And because they legally couldn't have her sitting at the bar consuming alcohol, he came up with the whole, like, we're just going to drench them with water from the top, which could be champagne, could be alcohol, could be whatever.
In
And in Bad Boys 2.
in Lev's club.
Yes, in the opening. It's
Some
only the
fucking
first,
punk thinks he can
first,
OD
like,
in
5
my
minutes.
club. I gotta go, Mr. W. Yeah,
Exactly.
okay, gotcha.
Okay, so she's telling the story on Kimmel, and she's like, and this was his solution because I was this, this is where his mind went, and she's telling it very jokingly, but then Kimmel is the one who almost makes it weird, but he's like, well, that's actually how, or what everybody's thinking, or whatever. It's like, she literally said out loud, like I was 15, 16 at the time or whatever. So, and then the audience laughs uproariously, and people were bringing attention to it because it's like, look at this shit. Like, it's the definition of slut shaming, basically, what happened in her career. And, like, anytime she kind of spoke. But, anyways. And then they, like, people elongated that to talking about the audition process for Transformers, where it's like, he fucking made her work on his car and blah, blah, blah. And she literally came out today or yesterday to say basically, like, make no mistake, I have been the victim of misogyny, etc., through, like, my entire experience with this industry. But she specifically highlights, she's like, Michael, like, no, Michael's not a bad guy in this situation, etc., and kind of, like, explained it further or whatever. And she's like, nobody forced me to work on his car or wash his car as an audition. There was an entire crew there. The scene we were going to be filming was me basically working as a mechanic on the car, so I had to fake, like, messing with a wrench and shit. And she basically was like, hey, I appreciate the sentiment of everybody, but, like, direct your energy, like, to true victims in this situation, etc., etc. And she was basically like, Bay's not the, like, creep that he continually everybody kind of likes to make him out to be, which you and I have discussed it. We've said it on mic before. I've said it. You don't necessarily agree with the sentiment, but I'm not saying he's a closet case, but I've always thought that the dude was gay. I just genuinely have, because the movies are almost so overly masculine, if you will, that I get the vibe that it's not like he's necessary. But again, the Eternal Bachelor, we always see him with tons of models, but like, I've just always thought like, hey, the dude came of age in a time where it wasn't cool to be out in public. He became big and felt like it might damage his career, and he never wanted to go that route.
Yeah.
But anyways, we didn't have to go off on the whole Bay tangent. We used to have a podcast, by the way, where we exclusively talked about Michael Bay and David Lynch. Maybe we resurrect
Maybe
that.
We can.
We've threatened to do it several
that's
times.
it. If we're gonna stop doing 2x2s, then it has to be to resurrect that podcast, because as much as I like us watching what we can and discussing it before we talk about movies, I like the format of we have to discuss a movie. And I mean, unless you're trying to pull out another director and go through just his stuff and sprinkle in, some rewatches and stuff up the top, I think the only thing we can do is either keep the 2x2 thing going or go back to the podcast no one wanted and finish navigating our boat through the Bay of Lynch. I'm trying to make like a reference to us taking the boat out so we can go ahead and
just like self-editing in the moment here, but like, do you think it's weird for me to like say that I think he's gay?
No.
You think that's offensive?
No,
You think
listen.
he would be pissed off?
No, I mean, listen, here's the thing. I think that there is a specific, if you look at the man's career and you judge some things, the things that you look at, that you're looking at, that would lead you to believe, oh, he's got to be gay, I look at it as, no, that's his own cynicism towards what it means to be masculine. Okay? He has no problem having all the money in the world, his 2 dogs, living in Miami. He's a Miami boy. That's all. I mean, him and Pitbull could be best friends for all I know. You know how we play.
It's quite possible.
Mr. 305. It is what it is. But now, I know he's been in relationships with women, but he also has always been like, I charge a high price because I do this and I do that. And I'm even when he's not on a film set, he is still working to produce. I think the guy just doesn't know how to do anything but work. Mm-hmm. I think the thing that people forget is that he learned everything from George Lucas. And as much as George Lucas hasn't worked that much and has like ridden his name into the annals of history off of 3 movies that are basically slumped together stuff of like classic shit that worked, I think Bay took that aspect of like, I get to do this fun shit. They pay me to do it. I'm going to have a blast. I'm not going to let myself be weighed down by like, I got to worry about, I'm missing time with the wife or the girlfriend or whatever. If somebody wants to, famously a bachelor, that's cool. If he came out tomorrow, it's like, I like dudes. Perfect. When's the next Bad Boys?
I just
come back to the franchise.
It would reframe so much of the misogyny conversation that has surrounded the bulk of his career. Mm-hmm. It would give a whole different spin on it, and it's always been in the back of my head. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I'm not trying to like force that narrative.
Oh
on
no,
it.
I mean, I get
it's
it.
something I think about every once in a while, and I thought the fact that she like went out of her way to like clarify everything that was going on, basically be like, guys, I understand, because we can also talk about the fact that there have been some legit sexual assault allegations in the last week. I don't know if you're aware of all of them or not.
No, let's run through them.
Okay.
I have listen. I don't watch the news and I don't get on Facebook and stuff. And I love my life.
As well, you should. As well, you shouldn't. You should stay off.
I love when you tell me things that I didn't know about, like why we don't like people now.
Okay.
Because I don't get this.
First on the hit list today. Chris D'Elia, who I was kind of almost just coming around on liking a little bit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm good with my original assessment, which was if you're Justin Bieber, who also got accused of sexual assault this week, if you're Justin Bieber's favorite comedian, you're probably not a great comedian. Anyways, but I'd seen him in a movie here or there, and I was like, all right, yeah, decent bits and everything. And I'd seen one special, I think from like 2 years ago, that I was like, there's some solid stuff in there. And the Eminem thing. thought was funny.
He's funniest on At Midnight. That's the funniest he's ever been. Is when he was on At Midnight.
Okay.
With Chris Hardwick a couple times.
Also, a complicated individual in regards to all of this. We should mention, also had charges alleged against him. No legal action was ever taken from what I'm aware of, and he went back to work, and he, still wears the public stain of it, I'm sure, but he still has a career. He's fine.
Yeah, he's all right.
Dalia, it's multiple girls, but one account in particular, which is basically she was underage, she was pressured into a meeting, etc., etc. And then people have pointed out that he's played pedophiles in 2 different programs, Workaholics and You on Netflix. And people have also pointed to this clip from, I forget which podcast he's on, but it's people discussing these, like a parent finding something from Snapchat, and he's genuinely like, but I thought that stuff disappears. Like, where,
like he's curious about what
and
they're
they
talking
explain
about.
to him, like, well, the people can screen grab it and everything, and there's like apps set up to save them essentially, and he literally, you can see him like processing in real time, like, oh fuck, I gotta delete my Snapchat basically. And it's fucking like almost bone chilling, dude. It's like, what the fuck? And then of course there's immediately a ton of people who are just like, yep, could have told you, dude's a total creep, like should have known this. And I'm like, okay, why didn't you fucking like say anything a little while ago, guys? If we all were under the general impression and people had knowledge of this, like, by all means.
I mean,
But
he
yeah,
did have a TV show called Undateable. Like, did that not cue anybody
he was
into
on
it?
the Whitney show. She's come out and publicly like condemned him. He's over with basically. Dalia
Canceled.
He got dropped, but
You-
officially canceled.
You put
for
him on
sure.
the hit list, we'll stamp him canceled.
Officially
because
canceled,
that's
for
what we
sure.
do now.
Okay. Next up, Ansel Elgort.
Oh,
This
no.
is a sexual assault case, basically.
Ooh.
Yes.
Baby Driver, no.
Yeah. The text I got, and again, the fact that this is where the conversation goes, but the text I got in relation to it was like, so Baby Driver is pretty much unwatchable at this point, right? You got Spacey, you got
God.
Elgort. And again, this is alleged. We don't know, but I read the story, I read her side of the story, and I'm like, this dude seems like a fucking creep. And it's interesting because with Dalia, because he's got a lot of male fans, a lot of young male fans, you did have the immediate, like, oh, fucking believe her story, and, like, show me the proof, and blah, 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 and etc. The immediate, like, just, this is bullshit, like, you're just trying to take this guy down with no evidence whatsoever, okay? But Elgort, because he is such a YA, like, female-centric lead, and like beloved by a group of women, the second this came, you did not have any of that narrative of like, hey, let's look into this, or there was no it was like, no, this fucking sounds legit.
Well,
Fuck this guy.
This kid definitely has a fucking
Now,
fault in his star, and he can't. Come on,
The
man.
interesting wrinkle as far as the entertainment side of this is concerned, and again, I say alleged, and I read her story. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
Basically.
When did
I'll
it
let you-
happen, though?
This was 2014 or something.
It's before or after the release of his hit single "Thief" or "Call Me a Thief."
I'm not aware because I'm not up on the Elgort stuff.
Because I feel like
But in the broader context of things, I'm sorry. He's the lead of West Side Story, directed by Spielberg, which is supposed to come out later this year, which is produced by Disney, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong about that. And his co-star is a 17-year-old or 16 or 17-year-old, like, new ingenue lead, next big thing sort of person. Okay. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. And he was also slated to be the lead of Tokyo Vice, the Michael Mann series for HBO.
So Miles Teller, what are you doing?
Well,
Let's go.
Probably, and hope that I don't believe they had shot much of it.
I hope not.
I'm not quite sure. So I don't know where those stand in terms of like how seriously people are taking those allegations. Like Dalia's been dropped from his agency, etc. Like he's done. I haven't seen any more real updates on the Elgort thing. And Bieber, in the midst of this, got a sexual assault allegation. He basically was like, I'll show you the receipts. I was not there that night, blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm taking legal action, all of this shit. And so that one, again, maybe a little more specious. But regardless, there are plenty of other reasons to want to cancel and hate on Justin Bieber. So, like, just add it to the list for me. I've kind of hated that dude since the get-go, even when he was a child. Yeah. Not a fan. Okay. Those are the big ones for the week.
So, what is what's the prop bet on Elgort coming up like, I'm gay? Like, that's his defense. It's a riff on the Kevin Spacey defense. He's gay. That's why.
Oh yeah, that old chestnut.
Yeah, what's the probability of that defense? Again, here's the thing.
I don't see it happening. He is, again, all of them have vehemently denied it across the board. All these people, but he acknowledges, because she had I think she had text exchanges and maybe a photo of them together from the period of time. And his argument was basically like, yes, we had a relationship. From my perspective, it was 100% consensual. I didn't handle the breakup well. So he basically hints at her being vindictive, and that's why this is happening. Which, again, putting the doubt in people's minds who are already inclined to be like, oh, I don't want to believe this. It's just fucking. You can have a classier response even as you're denying it, which I know is like, what are you gonna immediately come out and say like, yeah, I did it? Because
that's the thing, is like, that's what I'm wondering. Who amongst who on walking around on this planet right now, if somebody came out and like, I had a bad, even if it turns out to be like a complete Aziz thing, where like you ask every step of the way and she says it's okay, it's cool, he stops all this, and then you have to tell your friends, and then like it's a huge thing. Like, who amongst us on this planet could be like, yeah, I did that shit. I did that shit. And like, they're like, oh, okay, well, thanks for saying so. And then nothing happens. Like, I'm not, obviously the incident isn't like terrible. It's like, well, he's a pig, like he did this. Oh yeah, I'm a piece of shit. Like, I'm a terrible person. Like, you guys don't see it because I pay a lot of people to like keep it out of the news, but I don't know why the fuck you let me be a movie star, but I'm terrible.
Yeah, who could own it?
Who could own that shit? Because it gets close to that. Not so much, and I don't want to put the two names together, but one of my favorite things about the Marin thing with Brad Pitt and Leo was, Brad Pitt was like, I'm like trash mag fodder, dude. Like, my personal life's kind of fucked up. Like, I did it to myself. But that's what they focus on. Like, yeah, I've got my kids, and like, I made some mistakes, and like, I'm working on it, but like, they only seem to want to focus on like the bad shit. And I get it, but it's just this weird thing of like, that can give you a piece of like an insight into someone as who they are. But like, I ask, and I'm not saying that like this didn't happen, it's a different thing, but it's like, every dude reading that story, reading that side of her story, is like, probably got a situation where like, if written in the same vein, they're on the same end of that, and they're like, you have to allow yourself to understand that could be a possibility.
And most of the time, any guy who you immediately see speak up, it's like, clearly you have something in your personal past that you think is at least questionable. And so your natural move is defensiveness against it, and just like, well, no, because if they come for this guy and we let it stand, then eventually they'll come for me. It's that sort of mentality that it seems like sometimes. But I don't know why you need to. Again, I don't engage. I read social media. I do not engage in the comments.
Me neither.
Because that is just that.
That is proof that God does not exist and hell is a real thing.
That is when I have truly surrendered all willpower to like, I'm just gonna fucking get completely sucked into my phone or something, right. And I refuse to do that. So we can totally transition off of this. Clearly, we're
let's talk about chicks, man. Brokedown Palace.
Oh God. I will give one last recommendation before we get into.
Those are the only people we need to worry about right now. Those three
that I'm aware of, okay. Man. There's a new story every day.
Now, will you do me a favor, and like, if it does come out that like this is all bullshit and she was just vindictive and like really trying to hurt everything, and like it was like she admits that that's what happened, will you update me on that or no?
Of course.
Okay.
I mean, I that's the thing, and that's the other, like, in all of these cases, there's a lot of initial reporting from all sorts of different outlets, basically regurgitating the exact same information. But I'm always curious what happens 3 months down the road. What happens 6 months down the road? Like, you have public accusations. You have no actual, like, in most cases, no legal action that takes place. It all kind of gets waged in the court of public opinion. And I'm always fascinated, like, what is your life now on a day-to-day basis, etc. And I feel like there's less and less reporting about down the road. I mean, for both sides too. I'm not saying
because you get shocked when you're like, oh wow, this was a snippet of a tape, but then like if you listen to the whole thing, Johnny Depp is pleading with her like, you can't hit me again. We can't get there.
We don't have to litigate the Johnny Depp Amber Heard situation. I think again, and I know there's been a lot of free Johnny and defend Johnny, etc. I know there's a lot more details that have come out. The dude's got some major problems outside of all of that regardless that still give me pause. But I mean, again, yes, in that particular case, I didn't go into all of their dirty details essentially.
Oh, so you don't know like the long and the short of it?
I mean, you don't have to go through all of this, but
no, I'm just basically the crux of it was when it first came out, it was like
he beat her.
He beat her,
That's
right?
it. Yes.
Right, yes. The day, then she's recording this like the day he's drunk because his mother's dead. And then she comes out and says all this stuff and he basically gets canceled. And then it comes out that like he sought treatment and all this stuff. And then she starts like beating on him. And there's a recording he has where he's begging her like, listen, I don't want to get a divorce. I don't want this to end. I think we can work on this, but you have to agree that you are not going to hit me again. And she's like, well, I mean, I just can't all say that I'm not going to ever do something like that again. You're like, whoa, wait a minute. You threw this guy under the bus and said he threw stuff at you and was drunk and mad. Again, context is that he just lost his mother. So kick him while he's down, why don't you? And then now he's begging you to like not get physical. You get physical because you have. And you can't even be like, yes, I won't. Knowing you're being recorded. You can't say, yes, I won't. It just blows my mind. You know? Because again, I'm not one of these people that's up here. It's like, we got to get both sides. I'm not believing anybody left. I'm not believing one or the other. I'm not saying one or the other until 3 months down the road. And I know what happened because I've said it before. We talked about it the other day before we got on mic. We live in a society and a culture where let's say 75% of the people walking on the earth right now have always been able to get any piece of information they've ever wanted in a snap of a finger. And that's it. And when you don't have all of that, and you have to actually do the arduous task of talking to people, vetting people, listening to stories, verifying all this, putting it into context as to what the bigger overall story is, 9 times out of 10, you're never going to see a trial. You're never going to see a resolution of it. But what sounds really good is X, Y, and Z of all these sound bits beforehand. And then, like you said, the reporting goes away. You don't know what their daily life is. You don't know what happens to them. And then maybe they pop up later again. Maybe they don't. Some are so severe that you're never going to see them. You're not going to see Kevin Spacey in anything for a while.
Except for his self-produced YouTube videos. Oh, you're not going to see him in a mainstream Hollywood movie, period. No. It's just not going to happen. I would be fascinated to see. I don't think there's been any like random straight-to-video. Like, I don't even think they're touching him at this point.
Yeah. I would love it, though, if like somehow he found a way into like some crazy like Albanian market. He becomes like the biggest fucking star in a non-English speaking country. I think that would be fucking
just
hilarious.
Some other news bits if you want to hear them.
Yeah.
Winona Ryder brought up past like experiences with Mel Gibson where he was anti-Semitic and homophobic. He immediately denied them, of course, but it's like, I'm pretty sure we saw that tape, dog. Really? Like, what? And I'm pretty sure I listened to all of the voicemails with you and the ex-wife. Yeah. I listened to all of them, dude. And I'm sorry. There's no coming back from that for me personally as being like, oh, you know, Mel's a real stand-up guy. All that being said, we watched fucking Dragged Across Concrete, which got dragged into a whole like politicized conversation around it, which I never quite understood because I felt like everybody who had a hot take on the movie had not actually sat through it. We talked about that when we reviewed it. But again, that's one of those situations, and that at the end of the day is what it comes down to, is how much it's basically up to people to decide at the end of the day whether they still want to continue to actively support you or not. And if they don't want to, based on even if it's species information, guess what? That's still their fucking choice, period. If somebody just kind of identifies you as like, in the Dalia case where it's like, I don't know if there's anything like literally illegal here because there's like age of consent laws, etc., but it's pretty creepy for a 30-year-old comedian to be interacting with a 17-year-old. It's fucked up. And because of that, I don't really want to engage with anything that you make or you're in if you're going to continue to be and stuff. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is a personal, like, whether you're going to stick with the person or not. And that's what kind of... But I do at the same time have a little bit of an issue with people who like actively have an issue with somebody continuing to try and like earn a living or do whatever they've continued to do if there's no legal action being taken against them, and it is one of the like court of public opinion things. The fact that like people are like, you should not be allowed to, and CK is an example who I'm not sitting here defending at all, but it's like people are pissed that he still performs in comedy clubs. I'm like, he performs because there is an audience that is still paying to go see him. So if those people want to go see it and that's how they choose to spend their dollar, that's their prerogative, and you can feel how you want to feel about it. But to say that he's like not allowed to do that and people should not be allowed to spend the money that they earned however they see fit in that particular case, and you see it as like a tacit endorsement of all the stuff that he did, etc., and admitted
and people
to
who say
time,
that, people who come out like that, I'm like, so when did he jerk off in front of you? It scarred you that he jerked off in front of you? When did that happen? Because it's like, I get it. That's what I'm saying. You feel at the same time.
I do feel it's pretty fucking creepy. And honestly, at the same time, he was telling us he was a fucking creep for like 10 years of stand-up. I used to love to rewatch the FX series. That is a case where it's incredible. Like, I haven't gone back to any of that shit because so much of it was framed through this is like a critique or a satire of this like toxic masculinity or like male gaze in certain circumstances, etc. And you realize that like the satire is not really there. This is just who you are. And it's like, so an element that was kind of defining of the show for me, where I was like, I can talk about all these like crazy dark issues or whatever that never get dealt with or whatever under these contexts. It soured it for me, much in the same way that like Jesse Lacey and Brand New.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
think I've heard you say his name since all that happened.
Well, because the initial reaction was because, unfortunately for us, some of the earliest podcasts we recorded were rave reviews of science fiction and live reviews of that live show that we went and saw literally a week before all of that stuff came out. But
it still doesn't diminish my enjoyment of that album or the fact that I went and saw that show. Because I did it. It was an event. I can say that.
At the time, contextually. But again, my thing... And again, I have friends who still listen to this day, and I don't begrudge them choosing to do that either. But for me personally, that is one of those cases where I cannot separate the art from the artist, because the artist's actions are so intrinsically tied to the lyrics and give me a completely different read and interpretation of them. Much in the same way that I'm talking about with CK, where it's like, I thought you were satirizing these dudes and taking them down a peg or two. You were this dude, and this is like a personal narrative. This is not a not a tell-off to this mentality. This is an endorsement of it. Completely different read now. Especially those like first two albums in particular. Really hard to swallow in retrospect for me personally. Brand New.
Oh,
that's what I'm still
You just said
talking
Louis
about.
C.K., then you said first two
I was
albums.
just comparing.
I'm like, okay.
I was just comparing in terms of like art from the artist sort of thing, where it's like whether you still want to engage with it, and in some cases, like, I can separate the two, and in some cases I can't, and that's one of those for me.
Yeah, no, and I was just commenting because I mean, you haven't mentioned his name
because we never, and you and I think. Literally
we talked
recorded.
About
we
it.
did like an hour-long episode that never saw the light of day because it was a lot of us like working it out in real time. And at the end of the day, it was like, I don't even know that we contributed anything to the conversation, which I doubt we have now.
No.
But
I did get,
I
did get a sense in that, and that's one of the things I've said is that you after in all this before we even got on mic, that conversation, you're like, and I'm sitting here worried about pulling stuff down off a website, and I'm thinking to myself, fuck, man, that poor girl's got to be going through a lot worse than this. I shouldn't be worried about pulling all this stuff off website.
Yeah, no, that's
and
the
I
whole
instantly
thing.
was like, I'm glad you're my brother.
You get wrapped into the reaction of it or whatever, and then you would go almost through a cycle where you're like, well, why am I so concerned about this, or like how the band is gonna be perceived, or what their legacy is gonna be, etc. All of this shit, or in any of these cases, why am I concerned about the individual who's quote unquote being attacked or being taken down? And because that is the thing usually for where my brain goes immediately is I'm like, who would knowingly subject themselves to all of this public mockery, which you know is inevitably going to come. There's very rarely is there we're all on your side, we're with you on this, we believe you 110%. Very rarely do women get that, period. Why would you subject yourself to all of the backlash that you're going to get in a situation where you also know that, like, in most cases, there's no monetary gain on the other side of this. Mm-hmm. There's no, I want to get my name out there. Like, these people are just wanting to be famous themselves. They're, like, bitter or whatever. There's none of that because, again, anytime your name is brought up, it's as a victim most of the time. So my headspace...
Yeah, the nothing to gain argument. I get it.
In almost all cases is... And I try and read the first-hand account as opposed to the interpretation of the first-hand account or how it's being portrayed or the comments on it, etc. But why would you subject yourself to all of that unless it was truly something that you needed to come to terms with and get out there? Now, I say all of that to say, unfortunately, in the midst of it, there was some asshole who accused the entire Riverdale cast of sexually assaulting them, with no context whatsoever, and then literally within an hour or so was like, see how easy that was to get you to cancel all these people without a fucking shred of evidence? I didn't tell you anything in that story. I just gave you names and suggested a few things, and you guys all jumped on it. Look how dumb you are. It was like, dude, you want to talk about completely missing the point. You just fucking, like, deafened the reaction and took attention away from any of the stuff that was actually going on with a completely false claim to fucking prove a point and to just give people further ammunition to immediately doubt anything of this nature that comes from an individual. It's just, yeah. That happened on the back of all of these over the course of like the last week, was somebody doing that in the midst of it. And it was just like, what the, like... Internet's a fucking horrible place. Stay off it, people. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Fucking thanks, Tim.
Use your Spotify and your podcast apps and just stay off the internet.
Just go outside.
Make sure you're subscribed to the ARK of E Podcast. It'll automatically update for you. And maybe we'll make a promise to never fucking talk about any, yeah.
I mean, it's crazy to me. I'm just going to say this one last thing. This thing with, like, brand new and shit happens, and it's like, they're fucking canceled. Fucking Motley Crue killed a guy. Vince Neil killed a dude. They still made albums. It's just so crazy, like, the times we live in. If Vince Neil killed a guy now, done. But, like, he killed a guy in the 80s, and there was, like...
Matt Broderick and Jennifer Grey running over that person.
Yeah.
And it was, again, but I'm just saying, it would immediately be blown up as, like, they had to be at fault. But fucking, they're done. Yeah. If it happened today. Yeah. And, dude, I mean, the music rabbit hole of, like, the sins of yesteryear throughout rock and roll history. Don't even get me started. And it is one of those things where it's like, if you truly want to, like, divest yourself of associating with anybody who's ever done anything wrong in their entire life, you probably can't engage with much art. Period.
You have to do you have to do it
the best
when they're dead. Like, you could, like, Queen's okay.
The best you can do is be aware of it and at least engage with it in a responsible way. Like, if you're watching something from somebody who has a completely different viewpoint in public than the one they project in their, like, movie persona or their albums or whatever, like, by all means, just observe it under the context and be aware of it. Don't fall into basically the sheen or the veneer of the bullshit.
Because, I mean, I don't watch Jeepers Creepers 3, but I watched 1 and 2.
I'll watch 1, 2, fucking... you and Mom, you can have 2. You know what? Keep it.
Because we like destination horror. We like isolating...
There's one good thing about it.
What's that?
Laura Palmer's daddy.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it.
What are you waiting on? 7 more days, give or take a few.
But that is one that dude. You want to talk about another art from the artist, dude? No. I can't watch the elongated shots of the shirtless boys peeing next to each other and glistening in the sun, knowing where it comes from. I just can't do it, dude.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I don't watch the movie for that, but
I know. But again, that's the first one. Again, you can remove yourself from it because there's no real questionable content. But it's when the personal fetishes, etc., start to enter into it, and then you actually look into the background. And again, the fact that the dude was just like, he still had a career after that in the first place is just like, how many times can you fucking like fail upwards in that industry, dude?
I don't know. I mean, ask half the people that
on a good front and a positive one that we can wrap up on. There's over 300 black artists, actors, producers, technical cameramen, etc., people within the industry.
Yeah, tradesmen.
Yes. That signed a petition essentially to, I think, just the Academy at large, the Motion Picture Association. I forget who it was essentially addressed to, but to address specifically promoting anti-racism in movies and to basically halt stereotyping, being more just racially sensitive in general, and like a lot of high-profile people, Tessa Thompson, Chadwick Boseman, like, you know, etc.
Are we talking unnecessarily, or are we talking like even within, like we got to go remove all the cigarettes from old stuff kind of thing? Like you're gonna period stuff.
It's not a retroactive thing.
No. I'm saying like if they make a movie about the 50s now, are we not allowed to talk about it? Or we make a movie about the 80s, are we not allowed to show like the terrible plague that crack was on low income people?
I don't think that is necessarily what it's addressing. It's specifically addressing
like comedic stereotypes and like just
stereotyping and stuff that furthers a narrative of basically like that either actively ignores the racial connotations of things or actively like, you know, is problematic.
I got you.
It's just, you can read it in detail, their full statement. I thought that was a nice positive.
Oh yeah, no, that
in
is
terms of the entertainment industry, considering that we just talked about a lot of dark corners of it for a bit. So that is something good that happened this week.
Tell me something good. Tell me. What you think of Run the Jewels album, my friend?
I gotta be honest. Out of the gate, I was like, really like it, but 3's got more bangers.
Yes.
You know, it is what it is. And I know 2 is the fan favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm sitting here 2 weeks later. I fucking love this album, dude. It's a nice, tight 40 minutes.
You know what I did?
What?
I listened to the last track first.
Okay.
Where they do the Yankee and the Brain trailer.
Yankee and the Brave.
Brave, sorry. I'm thinking Pinky and the Brain.
Of course.
Yeah. But I listened to that first. Like, I fast-forwarded to that, and then I just let it play. It's almost like I'm getting the trailer intro into the album and then run it that way.
Okay.
I did that the second time. The first time I just sat there. I was like, oh, shit. I ride back after the last time I recorded. I was like, oh. Okay, well, let's hit that play again. Let's listen to that again.
Did you listen to our most recent episode?
No, I did not.
Okay, well, I dropped Yankee and the Brave, episode 4, the opener, or EP4. It's not EP4, though. It's EP4, episode 4.
Yeah.
I dropped that on the front and end of it. We open with mics first. We close with LPs first. So, yeah. Apparently you didn't catch that yet. But
no.
that crazy good opener, Just, I believe, might be my favorite overall. Pharrell and Zach from Rage Against the Machine.
Oh yeah, dude. When he came in on that, I was like, holy fucking shit. Look at all these slave masters.
Walking in the Snow, and then the closer, A Few Words for the Firing Squad.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen it specifically referenced, but is that not Never Tear Us Apart by NXS?
Which one?
The closer.
Oh, that is, yeah, that's Never Tear Us Apart.
I know,
it's just subverted just a tad bit in that last
note. Yeah, no, but
it's
it's the same, yeah.
We can live.
Yeah.
And even,
It has that also has like such an awesome build. But yeah, the first time I was listening, I was immediately like, dude, it's Never Tear Us Apart, and I was like, just bringing like that as a reference point into the lyrical context. So I was like, it's fucking great. So
you are right. 3 does have more bangers, and it is way more approachable for the average listener. But for this new one, dude,
their lyricism is at like the peak of its powers,
and that's all I ever
wanted
from anybody.
And they have finally they've taken the social commentary, which has always been there, but was way more prevalent on 1 and 2, and 3 is more of a party album than anything else. But has kind of like fused the two back into each other,
right,
in such an awesome way. So right now for me, it's like 3, 4 neck and neck, 2 right behind it, and 1. And again, 1 is still like a 9 out of 10 for me. I love all their stuff. Just recently, LP's first EP, if I'm not mistaken, which had been like lost to time, essentially never made the jump to streaming, etc. Like just went out everywhere. So it's super rough still. It's like it's lo-fi, but it's great. It's his first solo piece. So go check that out. If you've never listened to rap music, RAPP music, which is the one that LP produced for Killer Mike before Run the Jewels started, it's the best Killer Mike solo record. But yeah. But no, to answer your question in a much shorter fashion, I am loving RTJ4. And it's pretty much all I'm listening to, other than still making the rounds with Perfume Genius's most recent record, which was going to be we teased doing a 3 songs or less a little while ago, and we never actually did it, but that was going to be my pick. So maybe that's something you can check out on the ride home.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's going to be like a War on Drugs level revelation for you, but you might find something you like there. Album is called Set My Heart on Fire Immediately by Perfume Genius.
Okay.
Check it out.
You gonna play him as we intro, or you gonna give me a little Solar Twins Rock the Casbah remix, or what are we gonna do here?
We're gonna listen to the trailer, which I haven't actually listened to, so we'll see how this goes. So yeah, we said we were gonna make it short, but we'll see what happens. An hour into this episode, it's time to start our 2x2 retro reviews.
Let's give it 10 minutes, and let's just kill the last 50 minutes of Surf Ninjas.
Last 50?
I'm just kidding.
Jesus Christ.
I'm just kidding, man.
Really overpromising.
I know. It's
all right.
It's already
without
late.
further ado, here's the trailer for a little movie that you may remember called Brokedown Palace.
My name is Alice Morano. My best friend forever is Darlene Davis.
I mean, beautiful golden beaches.
Ferg told us his brother spent a whole summer in Bangkok for like only $500. Time means freedom. What could be better than a country named after the exact thing we were looking for? It was intense, alive, beautiful.
Where are you from?
I'm Australian.
Australian?
Australian, you idiot.
Do you guys want to do anything tonight?
Are you okay with this?
Why would I care? He's cute. Go for it.
You have no idea what you've ultimately sacrificed.
He wants to take us to Hong Kong.
I don't want to go to Hong Kong.
Please?
You go.
Come on, how many times have I done this for you?
Here's the deal. I'm going to fly ahead this afternoon, and then you 2 guys can come out there tomorrow. We can just kick back and have a good time. It'll be unreal.
Narcotics.
So somebody planted it on us. Alice, Darlene.
I have the right to an attorney.
Oh, yes, and right to one telephone call, too.
You didn't sign anything, did you, Darlene?
I told you I confessed.
It appears that there is no Nick Parks.
33 years!
Just let her go.
I keep catching these vile little drug smugglers, and you keep defending them.
You're like a lawyer? What exactly are you
I'm gonna try to get you both out of here.
You want to tell me about Nick Parks?
The cops think the girls made him up.
You were the one carrying the bag.
Yeah, the bag you packed.
First I thought it was Alice.
Alice was never even alone with him.
He's done it 100 times, and you're just 101.
You did it, didn't you? You ruined my whole life. I didn't do it.
Those girls have absolutely no chance of getting out of there. Guilty or not, they're guilty.
They're gonna die if we don't do something.
We're getting out.
All right, Brokedown Palace from the the fantastic film year of 1999.
Yeah.
This is not one of the fantastic films.
Directed by... was on our
Directed by
list.
Yes, directed by Mr. Jonathan Kaplan. We'll talk about Cap in a second. Starring Miss Claire Danes, Kate Beckinsale,
Very young Kate Beckinsale.
Bill Pullman,
Yes.
Jacqueline Kim, and old LDP. Our boy LDP snuck in there.
And can we just go ahead and say killing it? I mean, come on.
When is he not?
Yeah.
But see our big hit episode for more LDP action, because you're not going to get a ton of it here. Okay.
Dare we say that you and I get LDP'd in that episode? I'm sorry, I had to.
We might. We just might. Okay. Jonathan Kaplan. Where do you think you know that name from? Don't cheat.
I'm not looking.
I see you got a phone.
I'm not looking. Jonathan Kaplan.
Are you just over there like selling shit on your app?
No.
Okay.
No. It's my zombie game.
Okay.
We've reset
even
to the
better.
We've reset to the next level, the next day, and like all the shit's available again. Jonathan Kaplan.
There's this thing called The Last of Us Part 2. You might want to check it out.
I'm
Just
good.
saying. Just saying.
I'm good. Jonathan, name doesn't ring a bell.
His name appeared on every single goddamn episode of a whole show called ER. All 331 episodes.
What?
Because he was a producer. On
Oh, okay.
directed The Accused.
I remember that.
The
Yes.
Jodie Foster.
I remember looking into his background the
Rape
day I thought we were going to record this, which was last time. So there were some other good ones in there.
White Line Fever, which is not about cocaine from what I can tell. It is like a trucker movie starring Jan Michael Vincent from the 70s. And yeah, so he'd been in the game for a while.
Right.
Most recently, The Witches of East End TV series back in 2013. Some Law and Orders in there. Just basically went into TV. Basically. Yeah. And I'm sure he never needs to really work again if he's got that ER money.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
That syndication money. That's
Anyways,
for sure.
okay. Written by two guys that don't really have any... What? Hold on. Hold the phone.
What?
Okay. Written by Adam Fields and David Arata. David Arata.
Yeah, dude, you didn't know
Writer. Writer. Or one of the credited writers, excuse me, because there's a ton on here, of Children of Men. But there's
Okay.
also like 6 other people involved, so let's not give the guy too much
Which,
credit.
does it really matter who wrote it when it really comes down to who directed it and how amazing it is?
We're talking about Children of Men.
Right.
Okay.
Not
yes.
this movie.
Yeah,
No.
no, it doesn't matter. And again, Cuarón is a credited screenwriter on there as well. So
Yeah.
who knows? It was probably a draft of a draft of a draft, and this guy was like somewhere in that chain.
Yeah. He was arguing because he wanted to credit on IMDb.
He had to get
I
his
got
name
it.
on it. Yeah. Okay. So the basic premise for the uninitiated, and if you didn't listen to the trailer,
But we are initiated. Bruce.
IMDb makes it pretty damn simple.
Yeah.
2 women are arrested for smuggling while vacationing in Thailand.
Boom.
It's pretty much all you need to know.
Yeah.
Okay, Alice and Darlene, 2 high school grads. One's a troublemaker. One's kind of straight-laced. But they decide...
And one's dating Paul Walker.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they are.
Sorry. I forgot about that when I rewatched it.
I completely...
Me too.
100%. Is he uncredited?
I think so.
Yeah. It's 2 seconds. He does get a line, though.
Which is crazy because, you know what? He probably shot it before She's All That came out, right?
Probably.
So it's like,
They
that's
didn't
probably
know.
blowing
They had
up.
no idea what they had on their hands.
They didn't.
They should have had him in the prison with them.
Yeah.
Spice it up.
He should have been the dude. He should have been the guy that...
Oh, 100%. Who the fuck is this guy? I didn't even name him in the cast. Because in my head, he was like somewhere between Johnny Lee Miller and who's another guy of the same ilk. I don't know. But yeah, in my memory, it was like, oh, that's like a famous dude, right? But no.
Like him and Wes Bentley.
Yeah, Daniel LaPaine is his name.
Yeah.
Apparently he's in Zero Dark 30 and an episode of Black Mirror.
Whoa. Zero Dark 30. Who's he playing that?
He is Tim, the station something. He's probably
he's
probably
Station
background
Chief, yeah.
dude. I don't know. Okay. So 2 high school grads, they're looking for some adventure and they're looking to travel somewhere on the cheap. So they decide to go to Thailand. What are you showing me? I can't.
Black Mirror, Black Museum, Dawson.
Oh, he's that fucking guy?
Yeah. Sorry.
Gotcha.
That's just the most recent that popped out.
They go to Thailand. They don't tell Kate Beckinsale's parents. She's the more straight-laced of the two.
Mm-hmm.
Alice has a little more of a problematic home life. Okay. So they go. Doesn't tell her family she's going.
Right.
So we have that set up. They get there, and they do the most touristy bullshit ever. They spend most of the time trying to sneak into fancy hotels. I'm like, you could have done this in America.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to.
Our Uncle Randy used to do that in Virginia Beach.
They suggest Hawaii. That was the other one that they were pitching initially, right? And the whole time I was rewatching this, I was like, I should have fucking gone to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Should have gone to Hawaii. But my memory of it, because this, we should point out, like, I was like 9 or 10 when I saw this for the first time.
I was like 12, 13.
You definitely picked up the DVD like shortly after it was out.
Right.
I forget. It was definitely one that also the trailer for it was on the front of something.
Never Been Kissed.
No, you had it. Yes. Excuse me. You had a Brokedown Palace VHS.
I do.
Before you had.
Still in my room.
And you rebought it on DVD. We were kind of ride or die for this movie for a while there.
Dude, it was the Solar Twins cover of Rock the Casbah. That's the only reason I like this movie.
Maybe. For me, it was the Sarah McLachlan. Is it Sarah McLachlan?
It is Sarah McLachlan. It's
Silence.
Right? But it's slowed down. I can't find that slowed down version. I only find the up-tempo.
I like the dance remix, though.
The dance remix is way better. I always want to hear... It's just like that slowed down version of Heavenly Father for the Ben Affleck movie.
Oh, yeah. The Way Back.
Yeah.
Hey, that movie came out this year.
I know. That's crazy. Yeah.
For like a week, it was one of the 10 best movies I've seen in 2020.
Was my favorite.
And then it dropped out of the top 10.
That was my favorite bit with Joey Paz. I'm in the #1 movie of the year because of the coronavirus. I can't get any work. It's so fucking good, dude.
Great episode.
God, it's so good.
But I told you the letter that he sent him at the opening. Joey Pants, good guy. From all we could tell. And yeah, dude, fucking got hit by that car. Like, holy shit, that was nuts. Okay. Anyways, where are we? We're in Thailand.
We're trying to get our way through Thailand. So they're like, we're going to go sneak in. We'll just tell them, like, it's fine. It's this person's thing. Which, that's a neat trick. And I do love that it's used very well in the Florida Project. Not the Florida Project. It is the Florida Project, right? The Florida Project.
Is there a room gag in Florida Project?
No, they go to the hotel and like they eat the food and whatnot, and they pretend like they live. They're
yes,
there.
She does that.
Extremely
with the
well done in that movie. But this, they're trying to be like, oh yeah, I know we're here, and do like nice Australian, good-looking, strapping guy like kind of comes in and saves the day, and they're immediately smitten because oh my god, this handsome guy speaks our language, and like we can
also. Oh, he was doing the same. He was running the same game. He's pawning it off on somebody else's room number.
Yeah, let's get out of here while we can.
Yeah. So again, instead of we get like a 2-second montage when they get there. And sorry, just to reframe, this is a huge issue with the movie in general. We don't open with the girls graduating and like we open with Bill Pullman getting a tape sent to him from them in prison. Right. So we know where this is all headed, and so instead we are front-loaded with a shit ton of narration from Claire Danes about who they are and their general personalities, as opposed to actually having them interact with each other and like evolving it to and eventually getting to that point. The whole framing device of Bill Pullman listening to this, he's going to come in at some point. It kind of like
to me
it breaks any of you getting attached or caring about these characters really. So it's so much easier for me this time going through where I was just like, I don't particularly like either one of them.
Right.
Particularly Darlene. Kate Beckinsale is not good in this movie.
No.
She has been good in other things.
After this.
At the same time, I don't think she's never been incredible or mind-blowing for me in really anything outside of maybe like Snow Angels, the David Gordon Green movie. But I'm hard pressed to be like, that's a phenomenal Beckinsale performance. And this is just, I know it's early. Obviously, she's doing an American accent too, which is a bit of a struggle here and there, to be honest. And definitely probably affects. I feel like it's one of those performances where you can feel she's so focused on the accent work that she's and it seems so weird because it's like, oh well, it's still English language, like the emotions should still come through.
Right.
It's almost like she's so focused on hitting this like American Girl tone that she loses all the nuance or like characterization of it.
Right.
And she comes off as this just very flat, almost nothing character. And part of it is because there's no real development beyond she's the goody two-shoes who maybe now is all of a sudden becoming a little more adventurous with this mysterious stranger. She's coming out of her shell a little bit. She's being more of a risk taker. And Alice is ostensibly the crazy one, the wild one, but hey, actually she's a little more thoughtful than you maybe thought she was.
Yeah.
She has feelings just like anybody else does. But again,
this is her so-called life we're watching.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm just trying to lighten the mood.
Get it in as many as you need to.
Yeah.
But they get there. We get maybe like a 2-second montage of like the real Thailand, if you will, which basically consists of jokes about like they get to their hotel and there's bugs in the hotel. Oh my God. And they freak out, etc. And then again, it's immediately, hey, we're bored of looking around. We got this tourist book or whatever. Hey, we could go to the beaches like we planned. We could go like check out this thing or that, like about actually getting in or experiencing the culture or any of that. No, let's go to a fancy ass hotel. Okay.
Right.
So they go from that to again another fancy like nighttime. They go get a meal with him. There's the whole bit with the spicy food and the rice. They like take a boat ride. And she dances to the fucking Rock the Casbah remix. Again, it's a lot of montage. You're not getting a lot of dialogue.
Well, you got to cram all this in before you get him in prison.
Well, exactly. And you're not getting a lot of flavor of the place and the area or a sense of place beyond the kind of postcard version of it.
Right.
And it's not shot particularly like...
Probably wasn't even shot in Thailand.
It's not really like breathtaking. I don't think it was. I'd have to look in the trivia.
With it.
I'm pretty sure because they're not depicted in quite a great light at all, or with any kind of nuance to it whatsoever.
But like the way they treat drug smugglers and traffickers is like the way I wish everyone did, because then we wouldn't have drug problems.
I mean, yeah.
Hard labor? Come on, man. I'll never traffic if I mean.
Yeah, the crazy sentences where they give like. They will hand out these sentences of like 723 years. And then what they also don't tell you is like there's a sub-law in there where like now at least, I don't know if it's the case in 99 when this was made, but it's like nobody can legally serve more than 20 years in Vietnam. It's just more of a statement of purpose.
Yeah, it's just kind of
Thai
how like
prison,
we tell someone...
Hey, this is really fucking severe.
We tell people that they got life, and it's really life is 25 years. That's a life
25
sentence.
to life, yeah.
Yeah, that's 25 years as a life. That's, so you can get 25 years in prison and technically, hey, I served a life sentence. Yeah, okay.
You still got to get parole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you got to get busy living and get busy dying.
Yes.
And I'm just dying to not talk about this movie, man.
Okay.
It's all right. I'm sorry that I picked it as like one to give you.
It's totally fine. I just wanted to hit really quick. So again, the structure is a huge breaking point between you being able to like get in and connect with the characters. So then when they're forced into a situation where it's basically like they kind of each feel like they've betrayed each other.
Right.
They come to emotional blows over this guy who they just fucking met, and essentially, hey, we're gonna break off of our original plan. We're gonna go like hang with this guy. We're gonna go fly to
Hong Kong.
They get stopped at the airport. It's heroin, correct?
Right.
Yes. And of course, like immediately
why
they're
the
like,
fuck
how
would
did
you
this
not check your bags
How
at
did this
all?
get in the bags, etc.? It's very gray, like how all the shit went down, and then they kind of like throw together an explanation at the end. But
they do show like a one shot of him kind of like on his own, as if he's doing something nefarious, but you never actually see him like do anything with it. And I tried to find. I mean, there's like the trailer says, oh, he's done it 100 times, you're just 101. I've found a bunch of cases that are essentially like, yeah, this happens. Sometimes it's not necessarily very rarely is it tourists and foreign women, but like foreigners in their country. But I mean, it does happen all the time. It's just you're being set up to be the fall guy for somebody because it's the old logic of it doesn't matter who's got it. If it's in your bag, doesn't matter if it didn't get there or not. You got those drugs, homie. And now you're going to go to jail.
And,
it's that simple.
Subsequently, we will find out that they're the decoy mules, essentially. They're the people who are set up to get caught so the actual shit goes through.
Right.
Essentially. And it's all part of a big corrupt system, etc. And some officials may have been involved in it. They apparently kill off the mysterious stranger. This all happens off screen. But anyways, when they get to prison, here's the thing. In my memory, it was like, oh my God, they go through so much in that prison.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
It's really not that fucking bad.
No.
The only real issue is, again, comes from a place of ignorance of them not attempting, it's almost over the top or comedic the way that they just assume, like, that they have any kind of say or rights in there, and they're kind of like trying to talk back to the staff. So yeah, you get beat with a rod very quickly, and like, yes, she gets like tricked into it by one of the fellow prisoners, etc., who has it out for her but then they very quickly, instead of keeping the interest of like a language barrier and trying to communicate with these people and like learn the code of the prison, they immediately give us some other English speakers wrapped up in here, and we can have like a little 4-woman group where they can basically give you exposition on how things work here. But again, there's no further investigation of the Thai culture, of like humanizing any of these people who are also in prison. We don't know what they're in there for. We get vague references once Bill Pullman and his wife come into it of like, oh, well, they help, the Thai people with legal cases and trying to get, these crazy sentences reduced and like, get justice for people, etc. But it's very surface level, and we don't get to know any of like those actual cases or what Pullman's doing outside of this. And his motivations initially seem like, is it strictly monetary? Monetary, what is it, etc. So Lou Diamond Phillips comes in at one point. He helps he kind of comes into the conspiracy side of everything. Mm-hmm. What it all comes down to, they think they're going to get out. They think they've cleared it. Pullman's like figured out the loophole. And basically, at the last second, the high-ranking official like kind of bails on his support of them, and Claire Danes has to throw herself on the mercy of the court, and basically is like, hey, spare my friend, I'll take her sentence.
I'll take her sentence.
And it ends with, and they'll keep fighting for me. First of all, Kate Beckinsale sucks in this movie. She makes all of the wrong decisions at every turn. She's the one who gives them a story as soon as they're apprehended by the police, who actually gives them details, or like, when she should have basically said, no, I want to speak to my lawyer. She signs a document, which is basically a confession, without consulting with her. She does everything wrong from the get-go. She continues to bitch at Claire Danes as if it's all of her fault.
It's like, look, you're not streetwise like Claire Danes. You don't know. You don't fucking talk to the cops.
The best scene in the entire movie, the only one that really works at all, is when the dad, Beckinsale's dad, comes to visit the prison. Okay? And they talk for a bit very cordially, and then the second that Darlene, Kate Beckinsale, leaves, he just starts laying into Claire Danes, and you're like, dude, come on. Okay, I get that you're a father, but you're gonna fucking lay all of this at her feet and play the blame game? This girl's in prison right now, too. Like, what the fuck? Just the audacity, and again, the way the visitor section is set up, it's basically like, here's the stone prison, here's the bars, here's this, like, walkway, separated by a gulf of, like, 20 feet or whatever, where people can yell back and forth at each other. That's the meeting room, essentially. Mm-hmm. And so, again, the fact that he has the nerve to, like, sit there and be like, yeah, you always were a bad influence, basically, Alice, or whatever. But it gives her the trailer moment of I didn't do it. Great line delivery. Really the only moment of any convincing acting in the entire movie.
Because I halfway the first, like, rewatching this, I kept being like, oh, you're going to say that to me after, I let you fucking fill me up?
Tell me I didn't just kill that line delivery.
Oh, no, you did.
I mean, I could have gone, like, full bore, but
that was...
I had the inflection down. It's the only
spot on, dude. You brought it on Homeland.
But
I'll tell
yeah,
you that much.
it rely.
If you don't laugh, they're not funny. It's fine.
I chuckled
You
when
brought
I
it
caught
on
up to it. Sorry. Okay.
I like to sneak them in there. Yeah.
At
But
the end of the
when
day,
you-
though, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say
Please
a minute
talk.
ago.
This was your pick.
No,
I feel
I'm
like
saying,
I've totally
when
hijacked
you're
it.
like, oh, she signed the document, I always go back to, it say he slit his wrists, dead when you found him. That's it. Like the beach. Because the first time I watched the beach, I was like, oh, Richard, don't sign that thing, dude. They're going to think you killed Daffy. And it's like, it just say he slit his wrist, dead when you found him. And give him his passport, he's out. And that's the thing. If anything this should teach you is take 2 passports and basically leave 1 passport at the whatever like airport there is in a lockbox. Okay? So if you get in some shit, make sure you got that key. You can at least get out of the country. It's all fair game. Because yeah, here, take my passport, whatever. I got 2.
Also, when you go to a foreign country,
Check your fucking bags, bro.
well, excuse me, the takeaway for me this time, I'm sorry, was if you go to a foreign country, make an effort to engage with the culture, because the downside is if you just try and live your like cushy American life in a foreign country and you just go to the hotel, guess what you're gonna meet? Other rich, like opportunistic fuckers who are looking to prey on you possibly. Whereas if you went out and engaged and like checked out the beach like you guys planned on doing, you probably would have just had a good time and had some laughs and like maybe met some interesting Thai people.
Yeah.
But no, you were like, this place is kind of scary and gross and I don't like it as much as I thought I would, so let's go with the handsome guy with an accent and see what happens.
Maybe stay the fuck at home in Hawaii where you've got some actual rights because it's actually still part of the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lesson learned.
Maybe read up a little bit on Thailand, and yeah, if you knew how severe drug charges were there, you would definitely check your bags. Again, it's specious though because they do the Pullman brings in the bag, and he's like, "There's no way all of this could have fit in their bags." Clearly, there was more because the photos that were taken after the evidence was like, retained. Mountains of heroin, essentially.
Right.
And he shows me, he's like, they're in the containers it was in, there's no way it could fit in this bag. It's bullshit, essentially, and tries to disprove it. Yeah. I like the robes and shit they have to wear.
I mean,
in
it's
Thai
better
court.
it's better than
cool.
California denim.
Yeah. Bill Pullman's totally fine in this movie.
Yeah.
I like Bill Pullman and everything.
Yes.
Again, I don't know why we need the framing device of him. He's going to come in to save the day.
Well, see, that's the thing. If you're going to do this as like a true crime, like this is so-and-so's story, it works. Because it's like, you should know if this is the so-and-so female story or whatever, like the famous name that this happened to. Not famous, but like, there's been books and like people know the story of what happened to this woman and she's gone on to champion, like I was a victim, blah, blah, blah. Sure. Start me there where I know she's already in prison sending you a letter. If not, do what you say. Don't start there. Let me see you two as friends, getting developed, and let this be like for somebody who maybe didn't check out a trailer back then. Let that turn of, hey, there's heroin in your bag. Let that be the big turn reveal that it's supposed to be, because if they're in prison, if they're not going to kill somebody,
there's no tension.
There's nothing else.
Yeah.
There's only one reason why you're in prison in another country. You kill somebody or you got drugs. That's it.
Right.
That's it. So,
yeah, it's just not worth your time. I was about to say, hey, go check out Return to Paradise, but I don't even know if I can vouch for that one because I don't remember it that well.
I feel like the people in it make it better, though.
I mean, definitely better. I'm sure better
and
performances overall. Just to wrap up, Brokedown Palace. Estimated budget of about 25 mil. Makes about 10.
Yeah.
So not a success. And I was like, we saw it when we were young. I didn't have as much like kind of appreciation for the grander like themes at play and like some of the implications of it.
I make no apologies for anything I liked before I went to college
and
learned what movies were and what mise en scène was.
And this is one of the first times that we've had to be like, hey, this is a retro review that straight up has not aged well.
No, it
essentially. Hasn't. And I wanted to look back and I was like, was there a sentiment like this around it at the time? And there definitely was. There were people who were just like, it's kind of xenophobic. It's like, it's got a lot of issues, very surface level, the way it approaches like Thailand in general, and only really highlights, again, the dark, scary side of the prison culture. Whatever. But again, in my memory, I thought prison was like fucking Midnight Express or something.
Exactly.
And it's not at all. And
or at very least Papillon.
It at the same time, the idea of like Bill Pullman, like, we gotta get them out. Those girls will die in there, and you're just like, I mean,
people die every day, Bill.
It's like, but these white women, gotta save these white women.
Hey, where are all the white women at? They're in a Thai prison. That's where they're at, Cleavon. Yeah.
But seriously, the other element that I do genuinely feel like maybe could have elevated it, because like Danes is established at this point, she's solid in the movie. Beckinsale really like tanks this thing,
Right.
and I think maybe if you give her somebody else to play off of, like, I don't, maybe different dynamic, I'm not sure, but not worth your time. So anybody that rewatched it to stick with us and going through these, that's awesome. I doubt anybody did, but if you did, let us know, thearkofe@gmail.com. And right now we'll just transition into talking about a movie that we like a lot more.
And you're going to play the right song to go into this, right?
No.
Oh, what were we
Dude, this is a classic trailer.
Oh, it is, dude. We got to play the trailer. You're right. Play it. You know what? I watched it on the DVD, and I forget it's in front of Turtles in Time TMNT3. That's like the yellow case VHS, whatever. Trailer was in front of that.
Oh, I remember.
So play it.
Here we go.
I'm ready.
Whoa! New Line Cinema presents an awesome, ripping, totally stoked.
Get on with it.
New movie, Surf Ninjas. It's the story of these kids who get booted from their country by this evil dude.
That was then.
Now they're growing up in L.A.
But I'll surf!
And their life's one major vacation.
Just got a waxy old man-to-wave friction-reducing vehicle. Surfboard.
But some gnarly ninjas give them a blast from their past.
Those boys die tonight.
So they gotta split with their one-eyed guru,
Your Highnesses.
huh? And go back and save their country. Which is cool, because they meet this mystery babe.
You want to go to the mall sometime?
And like one dude gets these superpowers. One can see the future in his Sega game. And one's a geek.
There's dynamite here. We'll throw it at him. I got one. 1, 2, dudes.
And now they gotta fight the righteous fight. And basically kick some. You gotta see Ernie Reyes Jr. Rob Schneider.
He can get a job as a sushi chef, no problem.
Wild Thing Tone Loc.
Brothers don't serve.
And Leslie Nielsen as Colonel Chief. In a film by Neil Israel. Surf Ninjas.
I love the part when I was like, sorry.
Who doesn't want to see that movie?
Who doesn't want to see
that movie?
I mean, I was wanting Hit the Coast, but that is the best trailer.
From now on.
I can't untie these chains in me. Yeah.
Days and days and days and days ago.
Monkey in the jungle. Yeah.
Okay.
David Keating.
Surf Ninjas, 1993. Brought to us by the one and only Neil Israel.
Yes.
Director of such classics as Real Genius, Bachelor Party, Look Who's Talking To.
Oh, yeah.
Writer of Look Who's Talking To.
Oh, good.
And wrote the first Police Academy as well. And he wrote Real Genius. He didn't direct it. I'm just blazing through this.
So is he first time director on this?
No.
Oh.
No, he did direct Bachelor Party.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Old T. Hanks back in the day. What else we got in here? 2 episodes of The Wonder Years?
Oh.
Yeah. And Breaking the Rules was his precursor to Surf Ninjas in 1993. Surf Ninjas, for the uninitiated, stars Ernie Reyes Jr. and Sr.
Yes.
Rob Schneider. Tone Loc. You heard it all in the trailer.
Yeah.
They shout. I was like, holy
They
shit,
just don't
shout
shout out.
them all out.
I love that they call him Wild Thing Tone Loc. Like that's what they always. But instead
then
of like
Leslie
funky,
Nielsen-
cool Medine, yeah, but
It's too much.
It is
Wild
too-
Thing was definitely
That's his
at
thing,
that
dude.
point. The
Yeah.
dominant. Funky Cole Medina for like a year or two there,
Yeah.
and then Wild Thing. It's all over.
Yeah,
all over.
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah,
but you're forgetting like who else? Well, Kelly
who?
Kelly who, and Nicholas Cohen. Is that his name?
Nicholas Cowan, of
Cowan,
course.
sorry.
I mean, icon status as far as little brothers go.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Yes.
You want to talk about coolest younger brothers in
Yeah.
movie history? He's up there.
Yeah, I can dig it.
Fucking up there. And as a kid who was literally his age, like, I'm not. When I'm trying to think of like when we saw this for the first time.
We didn't see this until Japan.
So I'm like 4, 5,
Right.
somewhere in there.
Yeah. And Adam's supposed to be what? 10?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is aspirational.
Right.
I want my own Game Gear. Gavin's got a Game Gear, but I want my own Game Gear where I control reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want my brother to be. I want us to be children of a fictional thought. You know, I hope Patasan's actually out there somewhere. But
Quan
also,
Su, dude.
Side note, Quan Su, dude, by all means. Is this is the most iconic Filipino movie ever? Correct.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
this has never really come up on the podcast, but we have a pretty substantial Filipino community in Sumter, our small town that we grew up in.
Right.
I had a lot of friends, like extended friend groups and stuff, that were Filipino. And
I mean,
it
our
was just-
neighbors in Japan were.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
of course, we're near a military base, so that's
Yeah.
part of it as well. But yeah, this has got to be the number one movie. I can't think of another one.
No, I can't. I mean,
And-
when you add in the fact that Rob Schneider is part Filipino, I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Which you wouldn't guess.
you're 23andMe Tone Loc. I'm pretty sure you find it in there too. I mean, it's a thing.
And then, okay, we'll just say it from the get-go. You and I had this, like, I think we had it pretty much off mic conversation. But the
Right.
big revelation for the rewatch this time, because we've
Right.
seen this movie a shit ton, you got the perfect plot breakdown from the trailer, so
Right.
we're not going to read.
We'll hit our favorite moments, but
we'll hit
like
our
we
favorite.
this was a good
But
revelation.
my big read this time was I was just like, dude, it's something I never really thought of as a kid. I was just like, this is just one of my favorites. And there's something about that intro, like, New Line logo of this era.
It's home, dude. It's
And
fucking
it's just-
home.
I
It's
get-
just it's your
I'm thinking Mr. Nanny as well.
Yeah.
This era of like, yeah, we do kids movies over here at New Line, but our kids movies, they got a little edge to them.
yeah.
They got a little fucking edge to them.
They got genocide. They got overthrowing a peaceful nation.
Yeah.
They got a warlord dressed like a samurai.
None of this totally occurred to me, but I'm like, look at this cast.
Yeah.
Look at this cast.
Yeah.
A 1993, again, kids movie has one of the most diverse cast I can think of, where there is not, you could, of course, yes, argue that Tone Loc is the token black guy, but I don't even look at it in those terms. I look at
He's
it
the
as
only adult.
Rob Schneider is like the
token
token
white
white guy in
yes.
this movie. And we have the heroes are Johnny, Satch. We'll get into Satch. Ernie Reyes Sr. Did they ever collaborate
No,
again together?
I don't think so.
So
Not in a on-screen role. Now they did stunts all over the place
Yeah,
up until the time I think Senior passed.
you
but,
have
like,
them, you have Kelly, you have these Americanized kids who have to get in touch with their roots of, again, a fictional country, go back and save it from a mercenary warlord.
A white mercenary.
Yes, played by Leslie Nielsen, who's essentially culturally appropriating, like, samurai warlords of feudal Japan.
Right.
And has taken over this peaceful island nation. To what end, I'm not really sure.
No.
But whatever.
Wait. Patasanis are among some of the best wood carvers
So he's
on the
looking for
planet.
that free labor.
That's what he wants,
That's
dude.
what
Why do you think everybody's like underground in chains and like which this tripped me out this time. When they're going through and they're like uniting everyone. They're not on Patusan. Is Patusan like? Is it like a place in your mind? Like you're never home. You're never not in Patusan if you're a state of mind, because they surf to the island of Patusan. Where did they land? Or there's just
took it as like that's the main.
Is it like an atoll Hawaii
island
thing? That's my thing. They were going. Was it like an island nation, and like that island was like where the royal family,
island nation of Patusan.
Yeah, but
so
did the
I
royal
assumed
family live there, and then like
Yes.
the other Patusani subjects? So it in itself is a tad bit imperialist, is it not?
I would think so, which is part of the whole at the end him abolishing all of it and giving the entire land back to the people. The idea of like you don't need a
Put my face on the dollar bill stamp. Call it a day.
Exactly. The fact that that's the end point that it gets to again is like just there's so many little things that I don't even know that they're fully conscious. And maybe I'm giving it a generous read, but I'm just like,
where else is it in '93? Is what we're
lot,
asking.
I'm just like, there's a lot worse messages and like subtext that you could have in a kids movie, and the fact that so much of this went over my head, and I was just like, I just like these brothers fucking coming together with their cool idiot friend, and and Tone Loc, who we were obsessed with as kids because we were like, dude, fucking dad was bumping Funky Cole Medina like constantly.
Yeah,
that was his jam. Wild Thing was like the office jam at all of their work parties,
right?
In that era, at least as they tell it. Okay, but yeah, so. And Seabear and Jamal was a thing, so we had awareness of him. We were Ernie Reyes Jr. fans because of fucking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles already.
Yeah.
2 years prior.
Right.
Yeah. So in my head, he's one of the biggest stars in the world at this
right,
time. In my kid brain, he's one of the top dudes. And
when you see that nothing else really big happens after this until maybe like the rundown.
And that's the thing. We should mention part of a martial arts demo team since he was 6.
Right.
Trained as a stunt performer and has continued to work in basically behind the scenes capacity.
Right, yeah.
The fact that you had and you get it in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles too as well. The fact that you had a kid who could carry this stuff not only in the physicality of the stunts, but who's also a genuinely charismatic and funny
dude.
actor. The band, like, I was amazed how well all of that shit, and granted, it's a lot of like, nobody talks like this. If they talk like, if these were buzzwords or like catchphrases and stuff, they were popular for maybe a week. Like in 1992 when this was being written, this is how the kids were talking or something. There's a lot of that stuff and a lot of just like, random terminology and shit. But at the end of the day, I'm just like, all of the friend banter, their interactions between each other, it still holds up. It didn't come off as like cheesy or kid shit to me. I thought it was like genuinely well written and well timed interplay. Now part of that probably comes from the fact that Rob Schneider is a pretty seasoned comedian at this point in terms of just experience on SNL, level. Yeah. And he's fucking 30 and somehow it just
works that he's 16, yeah.
He has one of the greatest character introductions of all time. If you don't want chives, I won't put them in.
I put that in a knife if I were you.
Dude, that, again, when you're a little kid and I'm watching this, the menace of just the music cues and some of the POV
dude, the way
cameras
that
and stuff, and the unsettling nature of, like, it's broad daylight and, like, somebody's in their fucking house. And, like,
we have a cat?
We have a cat? All of that stuff. Like, and it still kind of plays for me, but I know where it's all going. But as a kid,
I want chives,
genuinely on it. Well, I want chives, bro. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Iggy, you hairy morning, you hairy evening. Don't you ever go home?
And don't you ever wear anything other than my boxer shorts? Don't they provide you with clothing other than my boxer?
My parents are in Biosphere in Arizona.
Dude, okay. So my brain exploded. The Biosphere in Arizona, that's Spaceship Earth. That's the fucking documentary I watched like 2 weeks ago. So I'm watching that doc. I watched Surf Ninjas 2 nights later. When he did my parents are Biosphere in Arizona, and then goes into actually explaining what it is, and I never thought twice about it as a kid. All of a sudden now I'm like, dude, there's a fucking Biosphere joke in Surf Ninjas? Like, fucking, what?
And is he, come on, man. Before I realized that that's like a real thing, I'm thinking, is he throwing shade at Pauly Shore? But like Biodome.
Yeah, but no, he's literally talking about the Biosphere in Arizona, the Spaceship Earth people.
Yeah, I love it.
Dude.
The thing I loved about this rewatch too was the dad. I love Mac.
Oh, I would watch a whole movie about Mac.
Mac just be like, because it's another thing. We talked about it in the Five Bloods. Mac is not aged up or down. He's just Mac.
But do you know, in my crazy head canon, because you like to do stuff like this.
What's that?
What if after he leaves Chinatown, sets out on the road again, old Jack Burton just started having adventures and he somehow comes across the island nation of Pakistan. He starts helping these rebels.
Jesus Christ, Noah.
Hey, the dude used to be in the Navy. He used to fucking, he knows his way around the ship. He knows how to work machinery, etc. And he meets a new Wang, if you will, and his name is Satch.
Yeah.
By
the way, my brother is the ruler of this island nation.
Yeah. There's definitely some Jack Burton energy here.
Dude,
I'm just saying.
totally. No, I agree.
Timeline kind of matches up.
Definitely.
It could kind of work.
Yeah.
I like it. Let's merge together. Reboot Big Trouble in Little Pakistan.
Big Trouble in Little Pakistan, dude. Let's write it right now. God, that's genius, dude. I've never even felt that. Like, just even gone there.
Yeah, and we should shout out the late great. Oh, damn, man.
What?
John Carlin, Carolyn, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, who played Mac, just died January 22nd of this year.
God damn
just
it.
Passed away, 86 years old.
Damn.
Dude, he did.
You had to wait 2 years to talk about this movie, didn't you?
He did some Dark Shadows.
This is your fault. You waited 2 years to talk about this movie.
He worked up till 2016, baby.
Oh, okay. So we could have talked to him in 2017, 2018. But we don't want to talk about certain ninjas until now. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so R.I.P. Mac. R.I.P. John Carlin. But yeah, definite, like, Jack Burton energy. I love all the flashbacks. This is a case where the framing device and the narration totally fucking works.
Dude, let's just talk about the intro. By the time I had found them, I knew it was already too late or whatever. Like, what?
Immediate war, siege, chaos, etc. That was the other thing. The battle sequences held up remarkably well. A lot of times in these quote-unquote kid action movies, you would have a lot of very just like blank action going on in the background, very like half-assed, not a lot of extras. The battle sequences in the opening and that we get at the closing, which I'm sure were shot basically in tandem with each other.
Right.
I thought were actually fairly impressive for the budget, the scale, the type of movie, and the action that's required here. Like, I thought they were much better staged than I maybe even gave them credit for as a kid. As a kid, you're just like, oh, this fucking looks great. Everything looks great. It's a movie. I love it.
Yeah.
There's kids near my own age. They're doing cool shit.
Yeah. I'm
on board. But yeah, so that really played for me. Again, all of the banter I thought was gold. And the fact again that it's bits that you and I literally say to each other to this day, and is so much in random conversation. You would think rewatching it, it'd be like, oh, I know this bit, but it's just a charm factor, dude, the whole time.
I meant to tell you, like, I've rewatched it like 4 times since I got the DVD.
Could it be
here?
Could it be here? I wish I could. I wish I could do the spaz kid laughing in the back.
Who would want to hurt these boys? Only I knew the answer. Lied on an island thousands of miles away.
Dude, yeah. The introduction of Colonel Chi, still a little unsettling for me.
Yes.
Because I'm coming off of
Naked Gun.
Off of Naked Gun. I was raised on Naked Gun by our wonderful pawpaw.
Yes.
And yeah, so I'd seen all of those multiple times, and so I had an at the end of the day, the biggest star in this movie to me was Leslie Nielsen. Even as a kid, I was like, this is the man.
Well, that's what in that Robert Hayes, Julie Haggerty thing, they talk about him, and they talk about how, like, this was the turning point because, like, Nielsen was like a funny,
flat out dramatic actor prior,
playing that straight, and that's his turn to that. Whereas, like, apparently Beau Bridges wasn't getting it, all this, and Robert Stack had to basically be like, this is how they want it, Lloyd. All right. And then they did it. They played everything straight. And they talk about how, like, later on in his career, Leslie Nielsen kind of, like, maybe knew he was funny. And so he played things for the laugh. as opposed to playing them straight. And now in this movie, though, I don't feel like he's playing it for the laugh. He's playing it straight. Like, he is Colonel Chi.
Oh, yeah.
You know, fart machine and all.
Yeah,
like,
there's some specious IMDb bullshit about, like, him remaining in character the whole time. Nicholas Cowan, like, you know, he said I actually didn't have much interaction with him, but he discounted that. There's a fantastic How Did This Get Made if you've never listened to it, where
you know
he
what you
shows
need,
up at the
what I
live
want to do,
show.
I meant to do is download the Howl app and like just do their free trial to listen to his in-depth like telephone call, Blake's telephone call with him and one other guy that's related to the movie. But like, I can't think of another. I mean, yeah, there's Sidekicks and there's Double Dragon, but there's not another just flat out fun, brother centric. And again, it's surf ninjas. There's not a lot of ninjas. Not a lot.
Yeah, no, ninjas is a very broad term here,
Right.
for
You know?
sure.
It's like, I wonder, I need to find out the list of what it's called in other countries because, like, you know, when we would go to, like, hotels in Japan, they were definitely
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was like
Samurai Demon Warrior 3 or something like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Which
we
is
had to
fine.
play the guessing game to like I remember getting Hard Target somehow in the midst of that, probably way before we should have seen it.
Dude.
I don't know what name Hard Target was.
Me neither.
under.
And I remember being like disturbed by that. I was like, they're hunting people. Wait, this could happen?
Yeah.
If I get homeless, I get hunted.
I know we're trying to quell the retro rewatches, but dude, incredible Hendrickson in that movie and Vosloo as well. Yeah.
And Van Damme, come on, man.
I mean, yeah.
And of course, classic Wilford Brimley.
Classic. You had occasion, boy.
Oh, no, okay,
You had
no.
occasion.
You had trouble that time? Change your intro. Did I tell you I showed a friend of mine Main Justice the other day and they just died laughing?
I think you mentioned on the last episode.
Okay. Well, I don't know if that's the one we didn't air or not. I can't remember.
Well, if you kept up with the feed, you would know.
Okay. Well, I'll listen to the old one on the way back now. So, why do you think it is that like moto surfing never took on the East Coast? Is it like strictly a California thing?
I don't know. I think it's the cult status of the movie for one thing, and that's the other thing. It has aged over time. You've kind of realized it still has this staying power with a certain generation of us, but I know it was a small group that like saw this at the time at least, and like has grown up with it and has this like super duper attachment to it. But it is one of those movies, oddly enough, that when you go back to, you're not like, oh, why did I like this? I was dumb as a kid for liking this. If anything, it's only deepened my enjoyment of it, which almost never happens with stuff that I was this attached to.
Yeah,
at
very
that
rarely.
age. Yeah,
I mean, you know, the bits, just the, won't you, if you want to get out of it, just tell them, I just found out you were adopted.
the whole runner,
Now you're getting it.
Yeah, the whole runner of Iggy just like thinking, convinced that Satch is actually like, okay, yeah, but they're just the decoys. I'm actually the heir to the throne.
Even the brilliant part is he fucking telegraphs that to you. I was watching this thing last night on CNN. This guy found out he was like the heir to a king or whatever. Then I started thinking, what happened if I was king? Man, at least Kane would go out with me in a dungeon, just like that. It's like, oh, you just telegraphed the entire movie, dude. But you don't care because, like, if you're watching it for the first time, you don't think that. You're not like, oh, that's weird. But then at the end, you're like, oh, shit, like, Iggy just told us what's going on. Like, what if is totally the motif of this movie. What if my father's a king? What if I had this power?
Yeah.
What if I lost it? Oh, what if the house, I don't know you back there, man. You know,
Dude, legit explosion.
Yeah.
Good looking explosion.
No,
Good
you're talking
90s explosion.
You were talking, like, the whole fucking house goes up.
Yeah.
Like, it's huge. Like, that's some, like, Joey DiCatano stuff. Like, crazy Apocalypse Now shit. And you're talking about the battle sequences earlier. I just remembered, it's always been in there. I always notice it. But, like, everyone else is ducking after they throw the bombs. Ernie Reyes Jr. is, like, he's standing up strong. And the transformation from, like, hey, you just gotta take your shirt off and pull your hair back and you're a badass, dude?
Yeah.
Tell me that's not like the fucking shit.
Dude, when they're on the island, they find like they're trying to get the sword that he needs to take
The knives of Kwanzaa.
Yes,
Because
the
money
knives of
can't buy
Kwanzaa.
knives.
Money can't buy knives, as we all know.
I'd cut him. But I don't
where
have
he
a knife.
finally gets frustrated with Satch to the point of like, all right, man, We're gonna fucking go at it. And the brief moment of there's a TV spot that really highlighted this moment, but where he cracks the sword and it's like, oh
yeah, the gold or whatever.
Yeah. Just all right. Just great moment. He plays every bit of comedy perfectly. And yes, the early transition when they're in the restaurant and he's like discovering his powers essentially, and it's as if his body is being like taken over by martial arts essentially. He's just activated. Just great stuff. And he plays the physics. It's the kind of thing where I was like, dude, I thought he was headed for a Jackie Chan-esque career of blending together amazing stunt work with really fun comedy.
Right.
And basically a Jackie Chan for a slightly younger generation. I thought that he had like, and we don't know like what happened behind the scenes. There weren't that many opportunities for him, but it's like, you think in our minds, and you don't know how like studio execs were looking at it, but I'm like, dude, if I can now say I've got the star of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze. He's inarguably kind of the star in the face of like separate of the Turtles, because you don't have Casey in the second one.
He's the Casey stand-in.
Essentially,
yeah.
But you can say Secret of the Ooze and Surf Ninja star Ernie Reyes Jr. Like, I think he could have had a longer run than maybe he was, able to get at the time. And Nicholas Cowan sounds like he just kind of went the normal route of like, I did a few other things, I did some commercials, and then I went to school and became a normal person, basically. Like, it wasn't for me.
And I mean, again, Ernie Reyes does show up in the rundown for a little bit, and he's been doing
I
stunts.
remember when that happened, that was the biggest thing about the rundown at the time for me and you.
Yeah.
Independent of like, oh, this is the coming out party for The Rock. It's Schwarzenegger passing the torch. One of the better Sean William Scott supporting performances, and a great, like, fun, crazy walk-in performance. Not all of that was completely secondary to the fact that you and I were both like, dude, Ernie Reyes has a credit. He's going to be in this movie coming up soon. We got to fucking check it out. And he's got some pretty memorable moments, like going toe-to-toe with The Rock in that movie.
And then he gets,
kind of unceremoniously
killed off screen.
Off.
Yep, done. But yeah, and I just... Something about this movie.
He's worked on Avatar, and I believe he's working on the sequels as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I hope so, because I know for a while he had a scare with some kind of cancer or some kind of blood disease or something that he had bounced back from, because there was a GoFundMe for him. And I may have lied to you. I may have said we watched this in Japan, but something about this movie feels like a Friday night on Perry Boulevard in the summertime to me. I can vividly remember like windows open, movies on either in the front room, not the playroom, like the front room, and it's on. Like we rented it or something. Maybe that was just like the first time we watched it. I had the Surf Ninjas video game. I still do. Like the game, and that's the thing. That's crazy. Sega actually like worked with the movie to like make those things. What you got in the Surf Ninjas game that I had and played is nothing. They're nothing alike at all, but it's still fun. The one thing that I will say about this movie, the only flaw that it has in my eyes, the only flaw, let's be clear, is that I cannot find out what fucking song they're playing when they are all rising up and they're like slowly, my people, if you know this song, you can join us. It's like,
I think that's just original score.
It's
just some fart rock guitar, and it's great.
It's like Santana fart rock guitar.
It does.
I know who. I've had to go to the California Library of Digital Public Recordings. I know who the artist is. I know what studio it was done at, and that it was put in this movie. I cannot find an MP3 of it to save my life.
All right. Well, let your boy do some work on that and see what I can find.
If you know, like, I swear to God, Noah, if you take this music at all and turn it into anything else, I will finance your next 3 albums. Okay? I'm dead fucking serious. I'm gonna hold you to that. I love, because, I mean, like, just before that, they do the awesome, one of my favorite bits. It's, I don't know when they would have shot it, what part, and I would just love to know when it's actually shot. But you get the whole, oh, it's dynamite in here. And you could say this is a flaw, but it's the one time that you realize you are in a kid's movie. It's like, Oh, you're supposed to light it first. Hey, matches by matches. I've got this. You smoke cigarettes? Yeah, I know I should quit. Maybe you should get the patch. Look who I'm talking to. Him turning to us and telling, look who I'm talking to. I'm like, that could pull you out. But if not even 2 seconds later, he throws the dynamite, blows it up, and him and Tom Loke had this little, that's the way to do it, baby. And they both slap hands on the backside of their hands. I'm like, these two were bros on the fucking set. Like, these dudes, these were the two that were old enough to go out, and they probably got drunk a bunch or like had fun or did whatever. Tom Loke was being all wild thing. And just, wait, how did you get out of your handcuffs? I had a key. Where? We searched you.
Swallowed it.
Whoa, how'd you know you're going to need it?
Swallowed it every Tuesday.
Oh, I swallowed it last Tuesday. Whoa, how'd you know you're going to need it? I swallow it every Tuesday.
Yeah. Incredible stuff.
It's
my favorite Tone Loc performance.
Yeah.
Of his, unfortunately,
brief film career.
Yeah.
No, I dig it.
Hashtag bring back Tone Loc.
Yeah.
Put him
Hashtag we're up with LOC.
We want a Tone Loc Omar Gooding film, I think. Do we still want that?
Sleepless 2.
There you go. Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if so Colin, they had to postpone their wedding and reschedule, so they sent out a second round of invitations.
This fucking Colin Tuig. God damn it.
Oh, I have it. Hold on a sec.
Okay. I know, like, Mom gave it to you the other day when you were there. If this is what I think it is, I'm just, this fucking kid, man.
Excuse me. Yeah, I love how you banter. Thanks for the dead air.
Oh, no, I was just...
Thanks a lot. Okay. Colin Tuig and Taylor Pritchard are getting married, parentheses, for real this time. Okay. Our wedding, round 2, Electric Boogaloo. That's pretty much all the jokes they worked at. But even in their second invitation, they managed to, like, throw in a few.
Yeah. I mean,
jokes.
I can't... you know... I'll give it to you real quick if you don't know it already. Basically, the kids find out that their parents have been murdered by Leslie Nielsen.
Yes,
when
they find
babies.
out Mac, their extremely white father.
They know they were adopted,
yes.
But they like realize like, oh,
why don't you just tell them that I just found out that you were adopted?
If you want to get out of it, just tell them. Maybe I could tell them I was hammered by the fact I found out I was adopted last night. You were adopted last night? I mean, why didn't your dad just adopt you when we were babies? We were adopted when we were babies. the bit about Schneider not surfing, putting an ungodly amount of wax on his surfboard, and the way that they're like,
land away friction reducing vehicle.
I'll pull a wax, a lot of wax,
a lot of wax. Yeah,
and they imply that he's never surfed. It's not like he went out, didn't have enough wax.
Yeah, no, this is a regular occurrence that he just comes out, waxes his board, and then
right. And the fact that like at the end, I love
Johnny, we're leaving. Oh man,
I had some musubi too. Now I had some musubi too. I love what he's just want to say. Felt really safe in your arms. I never said to a man before. And then the end, he's like, Johnny, I did it. I served. Like they're so happy, but like, is it now? Question. I don't remember from the rewatch because it was on and it was like the surfing scene and it's from now on all that. Did Tone Loc actually say what he says in the trailer? Like, brothers don't surf.
Yeah.
Get back. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Get back to the hood. Well, nobody.
Nobody's
home.
to me.
Yeah. I do love when he gets the Billy Club later and he's like, yeah, this is more like it. I'm like, didn't you have you did have a gun, but you lost it. Hey, man, you slide down the mountain?
I'm sorry.
You're supposed to say, yeah. I'm like, ain't it styling? Adam, you're driving. Dude, we could literally go through that entire movie probably line by line. Just with
Dad, we just want to drive, but the man won't let us. We weren't moto surfing.
You know, for once, I'd like to be right. Oh, they busted Jones
the tone
again.
Is just the commitment to this is the world of this movie.
Right now, in 93
yes.
Let's not mention that like 92 LA when this was being written, probably not the most fun. You don't want to show that side, but like they live right on the beach. They go to a high school that's not far away, obviously.
Their dad owns a freaking ship.
Excuse me, are you open?
It's a long way.
You got killer shakes.
You got killer shakes, bro.
Please show the food good because, cops. Oh, man. It's so fucking... I love
again, the rest would literally just be us running through lines. But the big takeaway that, again, kind of completely escaped me was just like crazy that you have an extremely young cast as well, but is this diverse, and it lets them carry it. It's not, it's not constantly leaning on, let's cut back to Leslie Nielsen every 5 minutes to give you some more of like an established presence or whatever, and like keep beefing up the villain. He's there, set him up and everything, and he functions perfectly. I love the call waiting and like, yeah, kill them all.
Kill him.
I'm sorry, I gotta put you on hold. Oh yeah, come on. Yeah. All that stuff is great.
Your battery pack's a dry curdle,
etc. Yeah.
I love that dude. Newsflash, your side lost.
The rolling down the hill is, yeah.
I love that they I didn't realize this until like watching it this time, reading it. They don't tell you. They call Kelly Hu by her name one time, and that's it. Romay, would you run like a mother and get Winky the one-eyed black belt? That'd be great. And like that's it. And the rest of the time, they don't speak her name out loud, and it's so weird, And I don't know, dude. There will never be.
They got pretty solid chemistry. Dude, honestly,
there will never be a better intro to a female lead, in my opinion. They're sitting there cracking jokes. Chick's got a veil, dude. Better bail. They cover her face, pick up the face, and Rob says she's probably not really
very attractive.
Show. Yeah, it's like, dude, this was you. You're that guy. You're supposed to make these jokes.
That top 5 might dissolve into just like something that could be potentially problematic, but maybe best like female reveals as a topic at some point. It's such an easy one. I'm sorry, but it's Laura Dern in Blue Velvet. It's the best reveal shot ever.
Okay.
Female. It just is.
I've never seen Blue Velvet. We don't do that podcast anymore.
Maybe we should.
Yeah. Should we just go ahead and determine that? Yeah, Surf Ninja's 1,054 times better than Brokedown Palace.
100%.
And do we want to ride out on this, or do you have another movie for me, or are we going to do another podcast? Were you not on a gay cruise? Because you are wearing the same fucking shirt that I saw you in Sunday. In my mind, you haven't changed or showered in the interim. You left Mom and Dad's house in that shirt.
Oh, yeah.
After you fell asleep.
Dude,
after
this is my easy breezy around the house Hawaiian shirt.
My easy breezy beautiful cover
that I
shirt.
don't wear in public anymore because there's negative connotations with Hawaiian shirts.
Really? I wear that shit all the time, dude. That's all I wear at work. I throw vests of my brand wear. I wear shirts like that all the time. Just throw a black vest, V-neck vest over it. I'm like Chandler Bing, but without the long sleeves.
All right.
Yeah. So what do we want to do here, moving forward?
Dude, I don't know. Maybe we'll just play it by ear. I still do want to catch You Should Have Left, the new Kevin Bacon, David Koepp horror movie that's on VOD right now.
Right.
So we can definitely do possibly a new review. I forgot to recommend it earlier. Excuse me. You have to watch Legalize Everything, Eric Andre's Netflix special.
Okay.
It is one of the best sets I've seen in recent memory. Definitely an acquired taste, obviously.
Oh, I love that dude. It doesn't matter, dude. I love that.
He
dude.
sustains the energy of the 11-minute Eric Andre show for 50 straight minutes. It is one of the wildest live shows I've ever seen. It's so much fun. I was literally one of those where you are laughing so hard there's no sounds coming out anymore, where you go silent, where you're just like, yeah. I had a couple of those. I genuinely think it's like one of the best stand-up specials I've seen in a long time.
Okay.
But other people who, if you're not already predisposed to like wanting to check it out because of him, he's not going to win any new fans. But if you like Eric Andre, it's one of those where I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, why is he not like, he's never had a big HBO special. He's never had a big Comedy Central special. Like, why is it just now that like he's finally getting one?
Because he probably wants to do it now.
Yeah.
Or like that's a thing now.
Well, because it's just like Netflix is just giving away specials left and right, period. But this
want
one
that
I definitely
content,
think
baby.
is worth your time. Highly recommend it. So you should have left. I definitely want to do like a new review for it. There's the new. I don't know if it's any good. I've heard mixed reviews, but 7500, the Joseph Gordon-Levitt hijacking movie, could be interesting to discuss.
There's a couple things that were sitting on the watch list. I was like, I want to get to those, but like I wanted to. I have to finish Hannibal.
There's a few new reviews that we could definitely do along with our normal rewatches and stuff we're doing. But I was tempted to. We've debated doing it several times, and July 4th is right around the corner. So in my head, I've threatened to do it multiple times. It doesn't necessarily have to be a 2x2 retro review. But I really want to talk about Southland Tales in some kind of depth before July 4th, because it's terrifying how that movie becomes more and more, less and less of a futuristic satire and more reality every day that goes by. In a lot of ways.
Streaming somewhere?
I
mean, don't you have a copy, right?
I do, and it's one of those I could do without rewatching, but I also just for the
you got to
sake
rewatch
of,
it.
Yeah.
If it's streaming somewhere, to
I have rewatched it in the last 3 months, but I also feel like I would need to
so
do
much
it
changed
again.
in the last 3 months. You got to do that again.
Exactly, and I also this is one where we might have to bring in an outside counsel, and finally get Baron Williams on the podcast, because he and I think we're collectively the two biggest fans of that movie on planet Earth, possibly. I think it's a masterpiece and completely underrated and forgotten, unfortunately. So I'm just throwing that one out there. Maybe we leave it up in the air for like what we're going to definitely come back and talk about next time. But that's one that's been kicking around in the old noggin, and I think July 4th would be a great time to drop that one. Obviously, we would probably record it in advance, but that's what I'd like to do as a network for July 4th.
Yeah, let's do it. Southland Tales.
Big Southland Tales.
I'll rent it and I'll watch it, and we'll go from there.
It's available. Mubi has it right now. We can do a Mubi trial. If you'd like
that
to.
works.
We can figure that out on our end. So, I assume. I keep forgetting that June is almost over.
Yeah.
June is definitely almost over. So that may, in fact, be the next time that you guys hear from us. We may squeeze in another recording session in between. So, for anybody that legit gives a shit or wants to have any input on the show, you can email us, thearkofe@gmail.com, and let us know. It's always on the table that we just fucking drop everything and we go back to the Bay of Lynch.
Yeah.
We pull that boat out of the dock and we finish that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a good idea.
I do.
But nobody ever really followed up on it. Now, bear in mind, that will require you to actually sit down and watch Dune start to finish and bring opinions to the table. I know, but the last time you did it and we attempted to record that episode, I was left out there hanging. I was left out there dry as the goddamn desert of Dune.
Well, listen, dude, the fucking spice wasn't flowing because I didn't have a novel and like a chart with a bunch of string to tell me whose house was doing
that's
what.
I'm saying, and it was a first timer for you. That's why I'm saying, if we do that, you would need to go back, rewatch it, bring a little more to the table, and then obviously we can fucking talk about Armageddon right now.
In our sleep.
Yeah. Literally right now.
I'll do it any day. It doesn't matter.
And that's been the hurdle to get us back on track. Because then, dude, it's a gravy train as far as Lynch is concerned.
You think it's not great on the Bay side either? You don't think?
The further and further we get away from The Rock, the diminishing returns in general. And then I've had a change of heart with Six Underground, which is a modern day action masterpiece. Fucking fight us, whatever.
Whoa, you just gonna disavow Pain and Gain?
That's where the turn started. The pivot away was basically the I like the island.
Okay.
It was the Transformers period. I love Bad Boys too.
Yeah.
Fully aware that it is a trashterpiece. Trashterpiece? Is that a word? I don't know. It's a masterpiece of trash. It's gorgeous, gorgeous trash in the same way that Six Underground is, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
On a movie scale, Six Underground's like a 6. On a Michael Bay scale, it's a fucking 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But yeah, so We can always head back to the Bay of Lynch. Can resurrect that.
Mm-hmm.
The Paul W.E.S. Anderson cast is always still on the table. Gavin's done a little bit independent review on that to begin with.
2. Yeah, that's right.
3.
Well, I mean, I could do 3 and 4.
Yeah, you don't have any PTAs that you snuck in on me this week, did you?
No, not yet.
Just check. It's cool. I haven't watched Extraction or Lockout or Sleepless or Den of Thieves.
That's the only reason why I want to keep doing this, because I feel like eventually it'll get to the point where like I can say,
those will be retros.
Hey, can you watch this? And you'll go do it. Because like you tell me to watch stuff and I go do it. But like
sometimes,
most of the time. Have you watched that 808 documentary, Noah? Being the music head that you are?
No, You know what I still haven't gotten to either?
Nope.
In Search of the Last Action Hero.
Yep.
Still haven't gotten to it.
All this time, all this
Not
stuff
enough
you're
hours
doing.
You editing the podcast and posting.
Yeah, being off for 3 months, making out like a fucking bandit. Yeah, playing your Last of Us 2. Why don't you watch a fucking movie your brother wants you to watch? Watching your Sopranos, been over for 10 years. You already seen it. You've already seen it once. You're going to see it again. You're going to watch something you ain't never seen before.
I haven't seen Sopranos. I'm in uncharted territory.
I thought you'd already watched this all the way through once.
No, I've only seen the first season.
Fine. Didn't finish the Sopranos.
This is like Horatio. How's Horatio Caning going?
Horatio and the team are doing just fine.
Girl, we gotta shut the fuck up.
We're in fucking trouble, bro.
We are gonna get in trouble. Shut the fuck up.
Kicked out.
Okay.
Horatio's fine. We gotta go.
All right. Yeah. Seriously, I think we will.
No, just
Veronica.
yeah.
And we're 2 hours and 12 minutes deep into this.
How do we do this again?
For anybody who stuck around this long, thank you. We appreciate it. Again, to recap very briefly, Brokedown Palace, skip it. It's not worth your time. Surf Ninjas.
Kwanzaa dudes.
Fucking masterpiece status. Childhood masterpiece. Holds up. So glad we can say that collectively. Only gets better with age. Has aged like a fine wine, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah.
Or a finely crafted Patisani Surf.
Let us know what we should do next. thearkofe@gmail.com. And, if you don't say anything, we're just going to do what we were going to do anyways, and we'll figure it out on our own.
Exactly.
So,
we just like to have some kind of direction.
Not too much pressure, but, I keep hearing it. The Bending Not Breaking guys, they're doing great. There's been a huge surge. It's on Netflix now. Go check it out. Avatar The Last Airbender if you're a fan. If you're just finding it for the first time. Those guys have a great fan community now. They're getting voicemails. They're getting regular contact. They've got voice actors from the show guesting on episodes. They're killing it. They're doing amazing. Let's one email. Just that's all I'm asking for. Just let me know you're out there.
No, listen, we can't sell out, okay? We can't sell out. We got to keep it. We got to keep it
like I'm begging for it.
Hey, keep your voice down. You're gonna wake your girlfriend up again. Easy. Yeah. Forget about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to.
It's okay. It's quite all right.
I had a blast. Didn't expect this to be another 2 hours.
I had a good time. We definitely talked about Brokedown Palace way more than it deserved.
Yeah.
But I think we somehow did Surf Ninjas as much justice as we are capable of doing on this cast. Okay. Is that it?
I mean, I just want to in unison say Kwanzaa dudes after you do your thing, and then we can get out of here.
Okay.
So, go ahead.
I have been Noah.
And I've been Gavin.
And we've been the Blanchard Brothers. Until next time, stay safe, stay smart, and stay tuned. Kwanzaa dudes.
They must love this. It must be like free beer or something.
Another day is done. Still the hunger